Butt Kicker Gamer 2. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
We're starting to run out of Wednesday nights in this season. There's only 2 weeks left to go in the PRL NASCAR Truck and Xfinity Series seasons in 2023 Season 1. In this, the penultimate week, it's the last chance of any driver who wants to keep themselves in championship contention, and as if that wasn't enough pressure, it's double Daytona this week. It's all super speedway racing. Welcome to Round 9 of 2023 Season 1 for the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway, and Round 9 of the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series, also live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Hi everybody, my name is Joey Tebben. With me in the booth this evening is Terry Radford, and behind the scenes is our producer, Hugo Luis. As I mentioned, it is crunch time in the championship. There is 1 week to go after this, and it is that critical final week. And critically as well, in the PRL, you cannot drop that final week. Championship round is dropless. You've got to take your points from that round. So that means that anybody within mathematical touching distance of the championship leader after tonight is still potentially eligible for a championship come season finale time at Auto Club. Speaking of those drivers who are fighting to be mathematically eligible, it's been Reese Bogue on top of the standings for literally all season, but he is not running away with this thing. Alan Dice, who just got his first win last week, is on his heels, about 21 points back. He needs a good night tonight to outscore Reese. Dallas Sullivan, 46 points back. He's got much more distance to make up back there, but still, it's Daytona. Anything can happen, and if you remember back at Talladega earlier this season, Reese Bogue has not had the best record in super speedway races. Steve Loving has a win this season as well. He's in 4th, and Patrick Cowgill has run into some bad luck. He falls down to 5th. Chris Justice, Zach Panzarella, Dalton Geyer, Dylan Schmidt, and Jacob Emery round out the top 10 in the drivers' standings. Then in the team standings, it is all but locked up. Loaded Dice Racing on a dead even 600. How satisfying is that? 60 points basically above Love Racing. DDI Motorsports All Day and Woodaback Speedworks and Bull Creek Racing for that matter. They're going to have a close fight for 3rd. Regan Bogue Motorsports with the return of Colton Easterday might be a part of that fight as well. Consult Info has fallen to 7th. DDI Motorsports Everyday has fallen to 8th. And it's the Gold Octopus Motorsports in 9th. And Woodaback Racing, the singular squad there, joining the last spot in the top 10 with the absence of Luff Apex over the past couple of weeks for a very good reason. Qualifying is currently underway here at Daytona, but before we can get into anything, we have to thank all the people who make all of this possible. Of course, first and foremost, it is the VCO, the virtual competition organization, helping us out here at RaceSpotTV and helping make every single Precision Racing League broadcast possible this season and every season. This coverage is also brought to you by Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount in ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. And from Advanced Sim Racing, it's Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceBoxSimRacing.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision5 coupon code. And from Racebox, it's RaceLab. RaceLab apps helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. This coverage is also brought to you by The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with The Butt Kicker. Also, Mechasim Hardware. Mechasim Hardware is a small company from the Czech Republic, and their goal is to produce high-quality sim racing hardware. If you're looking for a high-end pedal set, handbrake, or sequential shifter, visit Mechasim Hardware's eShop right now to get you up to speed and check them out. And new for this season, the past couple of weeks, Moradness. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. And last but certainly not least, it's NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Of course you are. Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. About a minute to go in qualifying here. Looks like Steve Loving currently sits on pole, so he's keeping up his good run of form. He has finally broken that duck. He finally has a win this season. And Terry, he's looking strong to start on pole.
Yeah, he's a really good plate racer. It's one of those drivers that we looked at coming into this race and said, hey, if he didn't get a win last or 2 weeks ago, this is where we could see him possibly come out here and win. As you see Paul out here racing in the third spot. He's just practicing pit road entry. Already set the time, going to get there. But there's a lot of drivers who did not take a time. 17 drivers put a time on the board. There's about 8 that's down there below them that just refused to do it.
Quite a few of them were naughty boys last week at Rockingham. We'll get to everybody involved there, everybody who was disallowed from qualifying. Still a couple of dying seconds left in the session. I believe this is Ricky Barbary coming up here. It's impossible to tell from the front end of the truck. No, that's the number 9 of Colton Easterday, rather. He's been out for a couple of weeks, and I've already forgotten his number, but it's good to see Colton Easterday back in the field after some other commitments and some technical issues over the past couple of weeks. He finally is a teammate to Reese Bogue this week. But the qualifying session has come to an end, and as I mentioned, Steve Loving on pole once again this season ahead of our championship leader, Reese Bogue. Paul Crumry has been on a good run of things lately. He starts third alongside Robert Goff. Jacob Emery, his pole was a memory last week. He's trying to get his first win. He starts alongside our defending winner, Alan Dice. Then P7 went to Patrick Cowgill. He starts alongside CM Punk Pennington. Dalton Geyer, fresh off of his first top 3, starts alongside the second Goff, Oliver Goff. Then it's Dylan Schmidt in 11th, and Richard Pruitt, who, if you remember, the random number generator chose last week for the win. He starts 12th. Colton Easterday, unlucky 13th on his return. He starts alongside Tom Amassi. That's Thomas Brendel and another returning driver, Matt Karakoff, on row number 8. Keith Miller starts 17th, and then we get into the first of the drivers who elected not to qualify. Dallas Sullivan for Loaded Dice elected not to qualify. Ricky Barbary elected not to qualify. Actually, Dallas Sullivan was disallowed from qualifying. Garrett Austin was disallowed from qualifying as well. Zach Panzarella chose not to. Austin Hunter chose not to. Chris Justice wasn't allowed. Jeremy Bailey wasn't allowed. And that rounds out 24 trucks in the field tonight. An interesting mix of drivers, some who have elected not to qualify, some who were naughty last week and brought out cautions at Rockingham, and some drivers who elected to go out with full beans and put it on pole like Steve Loving.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of mixed bags here as you take a look at the track conditions down there. 78 degrees, partly cloudy in the sim time, the 18th of February. It's 6:31 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, a lot of drivers going to be playing mixed bags here. This is obviously a time race. And, you think of Daytona, Talladega, New Atlanta, places like that. You don't necessarily think we're going to make the laps. I think we are going to race at that time distance on who's going to get this victory. Always good to start up front for Steve Loving. He's got a good person behind him in Paul Crumry.
So as I mentioned, Terry, you weren't here with us last week, but I did break out the random number generator. It shows Richard Pruitt as your winner tonight, which isn't the worst prediction in the world. He was on pole at Talladega a couple of weeks ago and was pretty competitive there, so we'll see if the random number generator is finally right in that way. But who else are you looking for throughout this field? Of course, there's Austin Hunter, who always looks at these super speedways. He's coming back from rolling multiple times and making his mom unhappy at Rockingham last week. Who's your pick?
I honestly got to go with Sam Pennington. I think with the luck of the draw, putting himself in a position. We picked him twice last year with the random generator in that 44 machine. I think that's who we're looking at here from DDI Motorsports every day. Possibly sneaking one out that time off of 4. Everybody starts wrecking. Hey, better late than never with the 44 machine.
The beautiful cream and purple entry of CM Pennington, giving me some Blackberry Cobbler vibes back there. But up front, it is the Ryobi number 27 of Steve Loving. He's been a driver who changes paint schemes halfway through the season at times, but he's stuck with that Ryobi paint scheme all season, and it's worked well for him. He got his first pole. Well, he didn't get a pole this season. He got a pole last season, I believe, but he got his first win a couple of weeks ago at Las Vegas. Now he starts from pole for the first time in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Championship leader Reese Bogue to his outside. Steve Loving brings us to green at Daytona. Clean stuff for the first 2.5 miles, but Paul Crumry finds a gap up to the top, goes up to the top ahead of Reese Bogue, and Crumry's going for the lead early.
Yeah, early on in the race, you want to put yourself in a position to win. If caution does come out, you want to give yourself that advantage to be able to set yourself up for your own destiny. And for Paul Crumry, he comes into this race with a very good chance to win. He's got Reese Bogue attached to that back bumper. That Chevy-Toyota combo is going to look really good all race long. But for the rest of the field, Joey, you don't want them to win. You want to shuffle that 4 out as much as possible. If you could take this 3 wide, put them a little further onto the back, and set yourself up to have a first-time winner this season, that's what you look to do.
And Crumry's another guy who's been very, very good over the past couple of weeks. Got his best result in the series, 4th at Rockingham last week. Was fighting for the win at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago before he got taken out. Could he finally be the driver who puts himself on the win sheets for the first time? It's been a very, very evenly matched season. The only driver in the field who's won more than one race this season is Reese Bogue. Everybody else, it's been spread one by one by one. There's a win for Steve Loving. There's a win for William Hartman, Gamushtal Sullivan, Strykars, and Alan Dice. Will it be another driver adding their name to that list? Paul Crumry certainly thinks so, as he's clear of Steve Loving.
Yeah, it's early dominance there from that 4 machine to be able to clear somebody on that outside. Early on, we're 3 laps in, but those 3 laps tell you quite a bit, right? It's going to tell you who's got the truck to push. We don't know what the back part of the track can do. We know single car speed, our top 5, top 10 was just fine on that. But you see here, everybody's now starting to get a little bit more confident to jump to that outside already because they just watched Reese Bogue push the driver to the lead. And he just cleared both of them on Paul Crumry.
Steve Loving is loving Reese Bogue right now. Both of them clear of Paul Crumry into the lead. That's Goff on the high side, attempting to make things 3 wide. I don't think deliberately, but Robert Goff is a little bit all over the place. Does Paul Crumry trust him as a pusher? It doesn't look like he does very much. That was not a good push. Bogue and Loving still clear in the lead as Goff and Crumry try to figure things out.
Now, you got to be careful in these trucks. These are not like the Xfinity cars that we're going to see next after this race. these are a little lighter on their feet. You don't necessarily want to get up there and give a shot. You want to just go up and kind of let the air push it. If you make contact, it has to be perfectly square. If you go off candid by an inch to 2 inches on either side, this truck's going to spin. You're going to wreck the entire field. You got to baby these things. You see Oliver Goff up there starting to move around, getting a little indecisive. We've seen that in every plate race so far he's been in, but he always finds his way to the end of these races because, well, if you don't get pushed and nobody trusts you to push, your likelihood of getting wrecked is a big zero.
You may notice a few of those names I mentioned a little bit earlier, drivers who have won races this season. Kyle Streikars, our defending winner from Talladega, our defending super speedway winner, not in the field tonight, unfortunately. William Hartman as well, busy with his commitments in the real NASCAR world with Joe Gibbs Racing, so he's not with us. And Aren Gamushtal with Luff Apex Racing. I believe they're still working on their efforts to help with the earthquake in Turkey, so that's why we haven't seen him in the past couple of weeks, but it is still a stout field of 24 trucks here, and none of them have lost the pack. There are still 24 trucks in one singular camera shot here.
Yeah, I'm going to be kind of surprised to see when we see a trigger spot. When do people get a little antsy? I don't see us pitting unless they change the fuel load in these trucks. If it's 100%, we get one caution, nobody's coming down pit road. We should be able to go all the way to the end here. It should be about 43, 44 laps, which should be good. And a lot of these drivers in the back of the pack saving fuel. But at the moment, there's a reason all of the drivers who have won a race so far that's in this field are up front. While this track doesn't take a whole lot of skill to win at, it takes a little bit of it. You know, you have to be able to push, you have to be able to manipulate the draft, you have to be able to know what line's going to work at what time. You have to be able to see it while you're pushing somebody and while somebody's talking in your ear, and also while you're taking a push to the bottom lane, getting shoved all the way through here. And RaceSpot, he's getting pushed around by the 20, and you don't want to push the pusher.
Well, Terry, you mentioned 40 to 43 laps. Right now, our timing calculator, which isn't always entirely accurate, says that 40 minutes should be about 49 laps at Daytona. So can you extend the fuel that far, or are we going to have to see some early strategy here?
I think we're going to have to see some yellows. I would think 2 cautions is gonna run this fuel run all the way there. But this is the one place that a green-white checkered is almost inevitable. You're gonna see it. If you don't see it, then, well, I'm gonna go play the lottery after watching one of them. But I do think if 49 laps is the way we're gonna go, some of these drivers who are a little bit further on back, you can 60% throttle this thing. Sometimes you could even just crack that thing to about 50% and just sit there and ride and let somebody else do the work for you. All 24 of these drivers are still within striking distance to win this thing. They just got to be smart, be patient.
Look at the highlighter yellow truck on the top of Alan Dice. He's getting a little bit dicey behind Oliver Goff, or Robert Goff, rather, up on the top. He's, once again, like Terry said, not pushing the pusher, but that's a guy who won his first race in the PRL last week, needs to beat RaceSpot this week to get within touching distance of the championship. But right now, he's just got a wall of trucks in front of him and nowhere to go, third on the top.
Yes, sitting on the top of the line here. That outside lane is going to be where I think the winner comes from. You see how they're a little bit disorganized up there. I would throw that more at the second, third truck in line right here. Paul Crumry showed that he can get to the outside with RaceSpot. You have to be consistent. You got Alan Dice right there. I don't think he wants to go up there and push the 15 of Goff at the moment. There's a couple connectivity issues on that outside lane. It's really slung some of the people down to the bottom. If we could get 4 or 5 consistent drivers up there on that outside lane that's able to hold a pretty steering wheel, is able not to swing it out in the tri-oval, don't swing out in the corners, just stay right tucked on the bumper, I think that outside lane is going to be the winner.
We don't talk about the Goffs often enough with Robert and Oliver. Robert the 15, Oliver the 85. If you get them mixed up, don't worry, because we always do as well. We don't talk about them enough, but they're always competitive on these super speedways. I personally want to know what their familial relationship is. Are they brothers like Austin and Nick Hunter? Are they father and son like Doug and Jeff Evans? I don't know, but either way, they're always in contention of these super speedways.
this is a great equalizer. I mean, this there's a lot of tracks that we go to in the season of the PRL that doesn't necessarily give everybody an option to win. Martinsville could be a great equalizer if you go up there and bump people out of your way. But here it's just, okay, you could ride in a line, and you see how patient everybody's been so far. I mean, we're 11 laps in. We haven't even seen somebody so much step out of line to do anything crazy and adventurous. But at this moment, at this stage of these races, everybody's in contention for this part. Now, 20, 30 laps from now, you'll see your clear-cut favorites, unless it's like RSR on Monday night where you're coming to the line, and I think we finished at 15 one-thousandths of a second was the finish.
Something like that. I did see the last couple of laps of that race, and if I remember correctly, your winner, Esteban Rodriguez, is a past PRL winner as well. I'm going to have to consult the spreadsheet, but I'm 99% sure that Mr. Rodriguez has also won on this side of things.
He has, yeah. It was... It's fun to see some of the drivers that are over there in RSR that's been over here, and some of the drivers that currently race over here coming to RSR, tying it all together for what the race spot coverage is, which it feels like Monday, 7 days a week PRL, because everywhere you look, I think this is one of the largest leagues on iRacing.
And I just checked. I was right. I'm glad I was right. Esteban Rodriguez. Last season was 2021 season 3 in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, but he won 3 races, so clearly he showed some skill here, took it over to RSR, and showed up everybody at Daytona last week. But who's going to be the next driver? Who's the next Esteban Rodriguez in this field? Is it CM Pennington? He almost just knocked the wall down coming out of the tri-oval there.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't do me dirty here. I picked 44 to win. He's sitting 10th right at the moment. He's got Pruitt right there with him, but I think this is about to get a little bit dicey. I mean, we're taking laps down. Our little calculator up here, our timer on ATVO, pushed us a lap down. So they have truly backed this pace to where you're saving fuel. They're almost a full second slower than when they started. I think everybody in this field knows, hey, might not be able to make it on fuel. And Steve Loving's controlling the pace perfectly. I mean, well, that time he decided to ramp it up a little bit. It was a 49.8, but they ran a 49.2. Speeds don't necessarily change here unless you back the throttle up.
There's a driver at the back of the field who may be backing the throttle up a little bit. I believe he's not all the way at the back of the train. He does have Jeremy Bailey behind him, but we do have to give a shout out to Austin Hunter. We are legally required to do so. Because you know what day it is, Terry?
It's his birthday.
It's Austin Hunter's birthday. Happy 79th birthday, Austin.
I thought it was 90. I don't know.
Something like that.
He's up there in age. I know that that established traffic control machine is just sitting back here biding his time. He might be a factor at the end of this race, but look at that outside lane right here. Kamari, he's not getting the run there. I don't know if they need to swap up who pushes who's doing what. Just not getting the run that you would see it. Look at the backfield back here. They're starting to spread out a little bit. I think there's a lot of fuel saving going on here in this field.
It's strategery time. Somehow 12 minutes have blown by in this race. I don't know how that's possible. It's absolutely flown by. There's been a couple of changes on the bottom and on the top. You can see Alan Dice was third in line in the top, but he found his gap on the bottom between Patrick Cowgill and Dalton Geyer. And he said, you know what? I'm sick of the top. I'm going down to the bottom, even if I am a little bit further back from the lead down there. And he is riding in line in 5th. Dylan Schmidt takes over his 3rd spot in line in the top. But you can see the top has fallen apart ever since Alan Dice has left it. They've got a 5-car train and a 4-car train. It's all fallen apart in the top.
Well, they had to get reattached, reformed up there on that outside lane. The bottom's starting to get disattached too. You're starting to see drivers just conga line down there to the bottom lane. You got 4 trucks up on the top trying to work their way to the bottom. Nobody necessarily wants to be in that outside right at the moment, except for the 5 that are just sitting up there holding their own. I think that shows you what that 88 machine has. The fact that he's able to sit up there side by side for 3rd, not really have to side draft, not trying to take too much air off the side of that 20 machine, but just sitting right there relaxing. And now we only have 7 cars on the outside. Everybody else is all tucked in on the bottom.
And that's given Jacob Emery a great chance. He takes over 3rd in line in the bottom as they distance themselves from Paul Crumry. Crumry has actually got a little bit of a run going, but Jacob Emery, he's still thinking about last week. He's thinking about his pole at Rockingham. He's thinking how close he could have come to winning a race. He's a part-time sim racing commentator in his own right, so we've got to be biased towards him, Terry. And he's trying to get clear of Paul Crumry.
We do enjoy the good commentators on the iRacing platform. But I tell you, Joey, there was one thing that stood out to me over the whole week of Daytona. A driver asked me, and he was watching Monday night, so I felt really good that I got to say it for him. He told me what it's like racing at Daytona and how you win at a plate track. He said you have to think like an idiot. He was like, you think like somebody who stocks the shelves at Walmart. So if you're walking in Walmart in America and you're like, where would they put the bread? And it's tucked in the middle of like nothing with like seasonings where it shouldn't be. It should be over next to all the other bread products in the world. He's like, just think like an idiot. Think like a Walmart stalker. And then you have a chance to win. And then I was like, well, I must be the biggest idiot of them all. Because I have 7 wins. I have 7 wins at super speedways. So I truly must be an idiot.
I mean, that's like the first order of business in becoming a sim racing commentator, so it's par for the course.
That's fair. Yeah.
Alan Dice, is he pitting or is no? He is. He is. The pit cycle has begun here. We are a few laps short on the fuel limit. With 15 minutes to go, Alan Dice has elected to bring it down pit road, and you know who's following him in? It's his loaded Dice Racing teammates, Dallas Sullivan and Thomas Brendel. It's a conceded effort here. They're rolling the dice.
That's good. I'm not surprised. I mean, we're kind of sitting here. We're double file. Nobody's stepping out of line. It doesn't look at this moment we're going to get the magic C word. I mean, we might a little further on down, but if we don't get it to the last 5 laps, they're out of gas. So I guess at this moment you're going to start seeing some drivers peek in. We'll see if any other teammates come down this time. Doesn't look like anybody's peeling to come off here, but this is going to be a hard time for Dice, Brindle, and Sullivan. They're going to have to go up here and make a ton of hay, and they're going to have to stay perfectly in line and run that bottom.
Crumry had a few flashes of the lead. He had a pretty good push on one of these laps from Robert Goff up there. One of these days, I'm gonna get that right. It is just impossible to get the 2 Goffs straight. It's impossible for Robert Goff to be straight on the top as well, because every single time we seem to look at him on the back straight, he is going snake mode. He can't seem to get locked onto Crumry's rear bumper.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the outside lane's doing. He's there with him, and just watch him for a second. He peeks out there. He's scrubbing speed off the exit of the corner. He gets to the back bumper just a little bit. When they go on the tri-oval, it's like he's just pulling out of line for a second. But it's not necessarily his fault. He's also not getting any help back there. The driver behind him isn't giving him the option to keep on that back bumper. The 05 of Tom Amasi is just not staying close enough. Maybe he's afraid he's going to wreck him because he is kind of bobbling out of line a little bit. Shouldn't be overheating. Shouldn't be getting hot. Don't do that. You're not clear.
Not clear indeed, but Jacob Emery is now clear of Paul Crumry. Is he going to elect to go up to the top and lead that top lane? Maybe Patrick Cowgill thinks about it as well. No, nobody thinks about leading the top lane. Paul Crumry simply finds his gap on the bottom. Tom Amasi takes over the lead at the top, but the top is, it's about a particle. There's 4 trucks up there.
Not what we expected to see. I did not expect to see 22 green flag laps without an incident. I kind of would have thought and imagined we would have just a little bit more pushing and shoving.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
I'm just saying, it's you got a good chance to win. This is a great opportunity to come up here and put your name in the winners column. I figured we'd get just a little bit more aggressive. The outside lane's starting to get a little aggressive there. Tom Amasi leading it, but I was thinking we would have a little bit more intensity pile up because we're at Daytona.
I'm pretty sure we know Jacob Emery is listening to the broadcast right now, so if he decides to just yeet it up on the high side and wreck the field, it's your fault, Terry.
Take it. I mean,
Austin Hunter, too.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. It's Daytona. I mean, I know this is a little bit deeper in the season than when we normally see it. Normally, it's the season opener. It's the rah-rah, the glitz and glams of Daytona, but...
And there goes Colton Easterday, turned onto the apron on his 1 week back. His return after so much bad luck this season. The hellish streak continues for Colton Easterday. We can't even see him. That's how deep he got turned onto the apron.
And he didn't get a caution because the rule is you have to be on the racing surface to bring a caution out. Not there. So it like nothing happened. Now we just see who can go up there and take that outside lane, and I'd love to, since it didn't bring out a caution, I doubt that the replay is going to follow.
Yeah, that is the most Colton Easterday thing to happen. He has just had the worst luck this season. He's just brought it down pit road, actually, to minimize his losses, hopefully, but he has just been involved in so many accidents, most of them not his fault. He just seems to be magnetized to the fence.
I guess that's a good way to put it. Just magnetized to the fence.
Yeah. And he said he would sing some musical theater for us if he made it onto the top 3 tonight, but I guess we're not allowed to see that as there's more trouble for Jacob Emery. An incredible save coming onto pit road, and here comes the whole field.
He didn't even lose any time right there either. He came right back to where he was sitting. Tom Amasi, Garrett Austin, Patrick Cowgill, Oliver Goff, Hunter, Robert Goff, and Keith Miller decided to stay out right there. So just a little bit of a differing strategy. But if you're those 7 trucks, you have to put a qualifying lap down. You need to run your fastest lap of this race. Like you need to get back down to where we were sitting with the 49.1s. And if I go up here, I saw Robert Goff ran a 48.88 there. You need to turn those laps. You need to go up here and minimize the time that you potentially could lose when they pack back up.
Matt Karakoff has just beaten everybody off of pit road. My question is, was that just because Karakoff? Yeah, everybody seemingly has taken tires. I did not expect that to be the move for the majority of the field. Matt Karakoff's made up 4 seconds, and he's taken the de facto lead of this race.
Yeah, and what's crazy is Alan Dice, that group that pitted from they're jumping through the field because they had 8.9, 8.4, 8.7 on pit road. They are picking up time because they were already at speed. We'll probably catch them in our shot here. They're already in the top 12. They're starting to pass some of these drivers with their differing strategies. You look at the race leaders at the moment. Austin Hunter pulled a weird-ish strategy with Patrick Cowgill. They pitted as a 2-truck team there. But they exited pit road, and here comes the remainder of the leaders. 1 through 5 are coming in all together.
Amasi, Austin, Robert Goff, and Keith Miller, and Oliver Goff as well. They are the last of the non-takers. And the caution is out as soon as they come onto pit road. Garrett Austin gets turned into his pit stall as well for good measure. But the caution is out on the speedway. I don't know who brought it out. I'm trying to look for any victims on track. It may have been Chris Justice. But with 18 minutes to go, it's all kicked off. Caution's out at Daytona for the first time.
And I tell you, Tom Amasi, that was the smartest thing you could have done. He drove through it. He just drove through the pit box, and now he's going to go to the back. He's going to go to the back. So, or stay out. You know, he might have thought, well, I got the caution. I don't have to pit. We'll see what his strategy's going to run. But for Patrick Cowgill, Keith Miller, Robert Goff, Austin Hunter, well, they're going to stay up front because Patrick Cowgill put a 7.7 on pit road. Keith Miller, Robert Goff, they're still scored right at the moment.
So here's what brought out the caution. That's Chris Justice coming out of the pits behind Ricky Barbary. Did he loop it on the apron? Is that what happened here? That's what I'm thinking. Let's see. Through turns 1 and 2, getting back up to speed. Nothing yet. Still nothing yet. Here comes Alan Dice and Brendel and the rest of the gang to pass him. Still no trouble. I am so confused. I don't think it was Chris Justice. It may have been Dylan Schmidt He is currently on pit road with heavy damage, as is CM Pennington. So I have no idea what brought that caution out.
Phantom caution.
I mean, maybe. It may have been the curse of the Terry if it was CM Pennington, but here comes Tom Amasi in. He elects to bring it down pit road after all, and Keith Miller will take the lead of this race for the first time this season as Amasi, Goff, and Richard Pruitt, and Dalton Geyer, and Ricky Barbary, and a whole host of others bring it down for their true service. Oh, and there's a smoking Dylan Schmidt on pit road there, Terry. I think we have our culprit.
And he's not smoking a Marlboro either.
Here it is. Number 92 for DDI. Did Dylan Schmidt lose it off the apron is my question now. That would be unfortunate for him. He was having a pretty good run. Looks like everything's under control. A little bit of a drift. Does he start to get loose? He's certainly sliding around a lot. He's certainly giving it all the beans there on the apron, but everything looks fine. And then suddenly things are going to not be fine, but we don't know how or where.
Maybe he just stopped for a smoke break. Maybe the truck wanted to smoke.
That is possible, but there's Dice and Sullivan and Brendel coming out with a whole head of steam. So I wonder, did Dylan Schmidt try to block them and get wrecked? Did Emery do something to him? Paul Crumry's coming onto the scene. The mystery is going to be resolved here soon, one way or another. Or not.
The caution mystery continues.
Yeah, Kevin Sandiego was missing on Monday night, but I'm just going to have to go, where in the world is Dylan Schmidt?
Poor Schmidt. It's phantom caution. But yeah, we got Crumry. Crumry's a lap down, so something must have happened with Paul Crumry and Dylan Schmidt.
And Robert Goff and Ricky Barbary, because they've got minutes of damage as well.
They're all laps down, and it was Crumry, Emery, Pruitt fighting up front. Schmidt and Pennington were fighting in the mid-pack with not a wreck in sight.
Well, you know who we need to resolve this? We need our former murder mystery theater actor, Colton Easterday, to solve the issue, because he actually just got saved by that caution. He was the first driver one lap down. He's been waved around. Colton Easterday, for all his bad luck, he's back on the lead lap.
This is normally when I turn to the YouTube chat.
Austin Hunter's mom, what happened?
Yeah, somebody in the chat must know better. I do like that our commentary friend in the chat, with us, with you have to be an idiot to win at these tracks. We're kind of smart.
Dane Baird is a smart boy. I think we can say that much. But that's
yeah.
Is he smarter than Keith Miller though, who's retaken the lead of the race? That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna find out, right? I think this is a find out. See, I mean, it's go time, right? It's time to necessarily go. We're gonna have under 13 minutes when we take this green flag. It's checkers or records at this moment, in my opinion.
Daytona has become a riddle wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, but either way, Keith Miller has taken the lead of the race. Patrick Cowgill starts at his outside. The race has been turned upside down, but we're green again at Daytona.
It was a really good start on the bottom. The outside is actually going to get a little bit of a better connected start with Austin back there behind Patrick Cowgill. Those two are theoretically teammates. We'll see if the teammates work together there.
It's Wadaback on the top. It is no alignment on the bottom as far as I know, as far as I am concerned. But there go the two Wadaback teammates at the bottom, Hunter and Cowgill. They elect to steal the bottom from Keith Miller, and it's Wadaback 1-2.
And Paul Crumry gives us what we asked for. Can't make it out of the pits. You shouldn't even be driving. Shaking my head every week. Get wrecked. found it.
So it was somebody on the apron, but we still don't know who it was on the apron. It's still a mystery.
We should call Scooby-Doo. I should. They're looking for people.
Maybe it was Paul Crumry and he's covering for something, but who knows? I don't think it was. It was one of those three drivers. It was Emery, Schmidt, or Pennington, or Crumry. It is a true mystery, but we'll have that resolved by the end of the night. It is crunch time here. 11 minutes to go. Everybody can make it on fuel, and you can just see on this shot coming down the back stretch, things are definitely getting a little bit dicier than they were before as Alan Dice pushes RaceSpoT to the lead.
I would be curious on who's going to make that outside lane work, or who's going to take it to the middle and just hang one of these drivers out to dry. If you're Alan Dice, there's no way in hell you're pushing RaceSpotTV to a win. I don't care. I don't care what situation you put yourself. Oh, hang on to her. What want to save?
That was a drift. That was a drift, if anything, for Oliver Goff, but a great save for him. Dallas Sullivan says, "Thank you very much for not wrecking. I'd like to stay alive here on the top line." But that makes Alan Dice and RaceSpotTV a very, very lonely pair on the top, and some unlikely racing fellows up on the top, because those are the top two in the championship. Alan Dice can't help RaceSpotTV. He needs to beat him.
Well, I said there is no way you're pushing RaceSpotTV to a win. If you do, something's wrong with you. I'd love to sit down and talk to him. But for Oliver Goff right there, I think he's just putting too much steering wheel into this off the corner. Very slow movements. You just want to be as soft as possible on that wheel. The more you turn into it, the more it kind of just wiggles back and forth. As Bogue tried to go down there and clear himself on Patrick Cowgill. Not today, as I think that 5's looking for a way around him.
I think Jeremy Bailey managed to find a gap on the bottom, so he's found some real estate here in South Florida. Good for him, but RaceSpotTV, not so lucky. Look who's behind him, though. Steve Loving has joined the fray. Matt Karikoff, always strong this season, has joined the top line as well. They're building momentum, they're building speed, and there goes RaceSpotTV into the lead.
Bogue got lucky there because the 5 of dice was pushing the fire out of him. He went to move down, and if you move down while you're getting pushed, you're going to get moved. You're going to get moved. Not the way you want to get moved. You're going to get moved to the inside wall. Emery actually gave us the answer.
Yep.
CM Pennington got loose leaving the pits, came onto the track, wrecked us all. I jinxed my man Pennington. That's on me. I'll take that one this week.
Of course. He had to be the person to resolve it because the memory of Emery forgets nothing.
That's true. That is true. You know what might be forgotten at the end of this is that if RaceSpotTV wins this race, it came off the front bumper of the 5. The man sits second in points. But look who's behind him with Patrick Cowgill and Austin Hunter. You want to talk about aggression. I don't know anybody else in this field other than maybe Steve Loving that would be as aggressive as those two behind wanting to get this win here this afternoon. And I think it'd be a big old party in the Waterback Discord right after this race if it happens.
And those are two of the only teammates that have found each other up at the front of the field. There's the two Regan Bogue teammates, but they're separated by 13 positions with Reese in the lead and Colton Easterday in 14th. There's some lap traffic coming up. That's Robert Goff up on the high line. He's going to stay out of the way and put himself in the wall for good measure to stay out of the way. But there is a distinct lack of teammates up here. The Loaded Dice Racing teammates of Sullivan and Brendel have found each other. But again, they're 2 spots behind their other teammate, Alan Dice. Waterback's the only team together, as I think Loaded Dice are trying to find each other in the middle now.
Yeah, and Steve Loving, I talked about aggression. Aggression might pay off here. He hung at 5 in the middle. It's not going to work. 5's actually going to get himself clear. Everybody else backs up to him. We're going to see if that outside lane it can start to freeze up here as you take a look at that 32.
I think that is 32. I was going to ask Austin's mom because she knows his age, but we've solved the mystery ourselves.
He has balloons. You know, I think that helps us out more than anything. But 32 years old, if you can win here, and this is, believe it or not, apparently the prime. I learned this last night in the 3 a.m. conversation in the iRacing chat. That's 30 to 40 is your prime time in the iRacing world. Apparently, it's when you're the most sharp and focused and patient.
That just sounds like something some old people would say.
Listen, I'm almost to 30, so if that's when I'm going to get really good at iRacing, sign me up, son. I'll keep renewing. I'll go wait for the Black Friday deals that are coming up here soon to make sure I resubscribe for the iRacing platform.
You know, like Daft Punk said, it's the prime time of your life. Got to do it now. Don't wait and live it. And Keith Miller is not waiting for anything. He saw the opportunity up in front of Alan Dice. He wants to prove that this isn't a fluke that he's up front here on the Super Speedway. He's getting the push from our championship runner-up. But is Keith Miller a pushable truck? He's not a driver who's been up front at all this season, frankly. And suddenly, Alan Dice has to work with him to beat his championship competitor.
Listen. Get up front. That's all you have at this moment. You have 6 minutes to go to get this. You have to go now. If you're Alan Dice, push the mess out of it. If Bird, you're right. NASCAR, the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, is the young guns. Everybody's under the age of 28, I think. The PRL is where, you know, it's where the older folks go. I guess we can call Austin Hunter the old folk now, as Alan Dice is pushing the fire to that 29 of Miller. Just don't wreck him.
This is a trial by fire for Keith Miller. Alan Dice is doing similar things to Oliver Goff, and there they go again. Keith Miller almost gets turned. He's getting good pushes, but he's almost getting pushed to his death.
Yeah, hang on to her there. You see the little side draft going on there. Keith Miller pulled down on the inside, try to side draft Patrick Cowgill. Cowgill leaves the teammate. In the sucker hole he goes.
That's what you get for leaving your teammate. He turns Reese Bogue into the wall, and there is the big one at Daytona. Alan Dice is involved as well, so both of our championship competitors for next week are involved. Brendel's involved, Cowgill, Keith Miller, and a whole host of others. Garrett Austin. It took us 35 minutes, but the big one finally strikes. Matt Karikoff leads as the caution comes out. Now the question is, do we have time to go back green?
I just had to mute myself because I'm not sure that RaceSpot wanted to hear what I just said. That was the craziest wreck. That was everybody but him. Everybody but Karikoff hit in that wreck. Literally everybody. Everybody is wrecked but Karikoff.
Austin Hunter is still rolling, but he definitely has some damage. As we're going to take a look at the replay here in a matter of moments, we're going to find what happened to Patrick Cowgill. But sometimes it pays to be lucky, and sometimes it makes you believe in the Newton's third law, or the Newton's first law, whichever one it is. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Matt Karikoff got killed out of the lead at Charlotte a couple of weeks ago with a technical failure, and suddenly he's got all the luck in the world to get back in the lead here.
What in the world? Everybody but Matthew Karikoff.
I mean, Hunter looks pretty clean. He may have checked up, but he looks clean.
I know this is gonna sound idiotic, but if you look at the right side of that truck, he's not gonna have the speed. He's not gonna have it. He's gonna be there, but it's not going to be what you think. Like, he might be able to pace, but the moment he starts to go, Karikoff should be able to pull away from him. This might be the first time we've seen a winner at a plate track. As you see right here.
Here we go.
This is before Patrick jumped up to that outside. He's going to jump up here the moment he hears clear. Outside to go, split second move. Not gonna like it. Keith Miller's gonna jump to that outside. And then bam, son. Oh, yeah, that's way too much damage. And look at Karikoff on the bottom. He was like, no, thanks.
I think Tamamasi made it through. I think Tamamasi made it through without damage as well.
Oh, that'd be cool. It'd be like, hey, you know, I'd like the number 3. And Austin had it missed, just got clipped, bam. Nope, nobody else made it through that. Tamamasi did. Tamamasi did.
Yes, we're gonna ride on. We're riding on board here, not with Tamamasi, but a few rows back here. You're gonna see everything kick off right ahead here. Whoop! That's Matt Karikoff just through the middle and completely clean.
Austin Hunter was the leader of the race. I think we went back to that. I'm not sure that Austin made a pit stop. He slid but he didn't make one. So it goes back to there. Austin Hunter is the race leader. If we don't get back going, Austin Hunter's won this race.
Just super speedway things. Anything can happen. So if we get to the line with less than 50 seconds to go and everybody is stacked up and we get 1 to green, we will go for a 1-lap restart, but it becomes a race against the clock, and Austin Hunter is going to be driving as slow as he ever has.
We have to get 1 to go right now. I don't think we will. I think the pace car, we're not going 1 to go here. If we don't, it's it. I don't see him try to double up because we're going to get it at 50. It should be 58 when we cross the line.
Matt Karakoff's thinking about it. We come to the line. Will the lights go out in the iRacing sedan pace car, or will Austin Hunter be the victor of this race? Cross the line. Lights are out. I believe that means we will get a 1-lap shootout to the end of this race, assuming that there's no delayed caution or delayed green.
I mean, I don't see how we would. It's going to take... Yep, there they are. Race is over. Austin Hunter won it.
Was the white flag in the air when we crossed the line, though?
No, but it will be this time. The time is over. Once the time hits 0 and they cross that line, the race is over. We'll just do 1 more lap. The time stops it. Once those lights came back on, it's over. Austin Hunter's won this race.
I'm doing the math in my head, though, because I think the clock goes on the expected lap time under green. So if you cross the line with less than 50 seconds to go, or with more than 50 seconds to go, you're not going to get the white flag. We do see the final lap graphic out now, so this very well could be the final lap. But I'm going to wait until Barney the Flagman has the flag in hand coming to the line, because we've seen some crazy things happen before.
Well, it would be Austin Hunter's luck, I can tell you that much. You want to talk about some crap luck? He would be the one guy to be leading at the time of caution when the clock struck 0 to not get Cinderella's kiss, to have to rack him back up and run a lap again with all that damage on the right side. Karakoff's going to take off I can't say that one. That's inappropriate. Never mind. But it would be his luck.
Yeah, the lights are back on the pace car, which tells me that's not going to pull off. Nobody has decided to rack things up. I think we have officially got our answer here. I always like to double check our bases because we have seen some unexpected things happen on the super speedways in the past, and we're just going to see something very unexpected happen now on his birthday. 32 years old. Happy birthday, Austin Hunter. You just won again at Daytona.
That's how you look at him. He got contained. He's so happy. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Hey, wait. Hey. You just have to run a lap. You just have to run a lap. You don't have to do anything wild. You run 1 lap. You're done. You won the race. That's awesome. 32 years old, chilling out, doing what he's got to do. His mom's watching like always. That's pretty cool.
Now, that's why I always say you got to wait for the flag on the stand, because you know what I just did there, Terry? I called his win 1 lap too early. There could still be some craziness up in the Austin Hunter tank. We could have a meteor strike his internet out, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's got 1.25 miles left to go, and then he's officially a winner once again.
Yeah. He's telling us to hush because I think he knows his luck sucks just as much as we do. Something stupid could happen, like hit a seagull or something. He'd be the first one in iRacing history to hit a seagull. I don't think we want to do that. He's just agreeing with us. He's like, yeah, you guys are honest. We could probably pop a tire here. It's a big deal.
So in the past, Austin Hunter has 2 wins in the PRL. His last win came over a year ago now, 2022 Season 1 on Wednesday nights. He also has 1 win in the Cup Series that came even longer ago in Season 11, all the way back in 2018 or 2019, I believe. But the iRacing Sedan pace car finally gives Austin Hunter his run to the line. And now for real, happy birthday, Austin Hunter, 32 years old and 3 wins in the PRL.
Doing it for Dale, baby. 3 in the sky for the man up high. He ain't dead. He's just a lap ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Burn that sucker down. You just tear them up. Just start spinning tires, start hurting everything. And unfortunately, iRacing did not score him as the winner. So the wonderful PRL people have to go in and technically he passed the pace car type deal. But yeah, Colton Lane says Austin Dale Earnhardt Hunter.
And
it's funny that Austin called this win. Austin told me in the Discord that he was going to win the race.
For the love of Austin Hunter, I really hope that somebody gets the clip of him celebrating and puts it to Numa Numa, so we can just bring that back from like 2006. I think that'll be a good reference. The results you're about to see are not accurate because of the glitches with iRacing's checkered flags here and timed races on the super speedways. So just imagine that your race winner is Austin Hunter, because it is. Second place is going to be a very disappointed Matt Karakoff, who came so close. The caution just didn't go his way. I believe at the end of it all, Dallas Sullivan was third. Yes. Then Steve Loving was fifth. Dalton Geyer was fourth. Do the math in your head there. Tamamasi comes home in P6. Panzarella, Brendel, Austin, and Bailey all come home with top 10s. Colton Easterday got lucky to get back on the lead lap, couldn't quite make it into the top 10, and Robert Goff ended at the end of the dozen. P1, your winner was Austin Hunter. Second place was Matt Karakoff, and then we get into the actual rankings. But we're already into the used car lot, or the used truck lot of drivers with heavy damage. 13th place went to Reese Bogue. No, it didn't. Oliver Goff got 13th, ahead of Alan Dice, Justice Barbary, and then Bogue. So even in that calamity, Alan Dice has picked up a couple more points on Reese Bogue. Then Patrick Cowgill, Keith Miller, and Richard Pruitt brought us down to P20. And then Paul Crumry got in some bad luck, P21. Jacob Emery, P21 or P22, whatever that shook out to be. Dylan Schmidt, 23rd, and CM Punk Pennington may have caused a little bit of trouble. He was shotgun on the field. But I think we're about to talk to a very, very happy driver, Terry. Austin, you were rolling around like a soccer ball last week at Rockingham. You come back to Daytona on your birthday, and you just finally won again. How does that feel?
Oh, man, it feels great. I feel like I was almost calling my shot. I did my birthday dinner last night so I could race tonight. And it's like, I only have 2 wins. They're both at Daytona. Maybe I can pull it off. And lucky timing and a lucky break pulled it off.
So Terry suggested that being in your 30s to 40s is the prime time of your iRacing career. Is 32 going to be the best year in Austin Hunter's life?
It's starting off that way. I don't know if I can get any higher than where I'm at right now. Couldn't be happier.
You just have to win again.
Yeah, how about another win at Auto Club next week? Can we go 2 for 2 to end the season?
We're going to go for it. If I can finally start waking up on my qualifying and start more towards the front of the field, I might have a good shot.
And it's still a family affair at Daytona tonight. Nick is coming up in the Xfinity Series race. Is it going to be a Hunter sweep? Is your mom going to be happy?
I sure hope so. But he somehow has even worse luck than I do, and I've flipped last week, and so we'll see what we can do.
Well, all the luck is finally turned around into a big win. We're happy for you. Congrats on the win. We'll see you at Auto Club next week.
Thank you, guys. I just want to make sure I squeeze in a thank you to Brendan Chadley at Established Traffic Control. You guys for such a great broadcast, and thank you guys for everything, and my guys at Waterback.
Where'd you get those balloons?
My friends at work. I left my unicorn at home. It was rainbow unicorn themed.
Where did you get the shirt? That's all I care about.
Christmas, Amazon.
Yeah, I would throw that shirt away.
Love you too, Terry.
I would keep it for good luck, because clearly it's worked for him. But Austin Hunter, your winner tonight, finally back in victory lane, and the happiest guy in the whole Hunter land. Unfortunately, Terry, we got to bring the mood down a little bit, because you're going to have a very disappointed driver. Matt Karakoff comes home second.
Yeah, Matt, caution kind of come out at the wrong time, right when you look like you were about to take the race lead, and then you didn't. Talk through those emotions where you just paced, and you were the cleanest car in the field. You were the only one to make it through the wreck that took everybody out.
Yeah, I got bumped around in it, but I luckily stayed straight. But I was just kind of hoping for it to stay green and get that white flag and try to push my way up through there, make it 3 wide or something. But hey, I'll take a second place finish here in this league. I've not had the best of luck.
Well, You talked about luck. We had two people back to back, Austin and then you, that had the worst luck of anybody all season long. What is a P2? I know it's a plate track or a super speedway, whatever everybody wants to call it, but do you get a chance to potentially use this as a stepping stone going into next week to end the season on a higher note?
Oh, absolutely. Just a confidence builder. It's in itself. So, I mean, it's been really frustrating racing. I mean, the drivers are awesome here. It's just, like you said, my luck has been awful. So I'm so grateful for second place, and I'll take it.
Well, anybody you want to throw an old shout out to?
Yeah, Camp Light. That's what's on my truck. That's a camp for kids with disabilities. They have it in the summer. It's a really good cause, and I love having it on the truck. And thank you all for broadcasting. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of the PRL and being a part of iRacing. That's Matthew Karikoff, P2 here tonight, and I believe it is Dallas Sullivan that finished P3 here. So take it away, Joey Tappan.
Indeed, it is Dallas Sullivan. So, Dallas, there's going to be a bunch of math that's going to go on after tonight, but you've definitely made up a bunch of points on Reese Bogue and Alan Dice. Do you think you've put yourself in mathematical championship contention for next week?
Yeah, I had my slide rule out here waiting for the interview to see where we're at, but I couldn't quite figure it out yet. A real bummer for Alan. He had a good race going on up there. He was making moves and trying to just put a little bit of pressure on Reese there, but I think my win I got earlier this year kind of stole from Alan via caution, and I kind of just stole a little bit more from him this time too. So I don't know where the points are going to end up when it's all said and done, though.
Talk us through that last lap, because you were one of basically every single driver in the field other than Matt Karikoff who was involved in that big one. What did you see when that all went down?
I didn't really see much on this one at all. I didn't have a good view of it. I was just watching the replay, and all of a sudden everybody was crashing. I didn't really see the smoke from it to even really check up, and I just cranked the wheel to the left trying to avoid it. I got hit a couple times, but no, this truck didn't spin around, so I was able to drive off with it, and I was limping around with 1100 RPM and kind of also doing the mental math to see if the race was going to start back up, because if it was, I mean, everybody would have just driven right on by me. But luckily the time was on my side with this one to finish it out under caution, and I was able to sneak home with that P3.
So what's going to happen next week at Auto Club? It's another 2-mile oval. How are you feeling about the bumps of Fontana?
I really love that track. Looking forward to it. Lots of room to race, and hope I can after we see what the point situation is, I may have to see how I'm going to approach that race, if I've still got a shot or not at the little championship at the end of the season.
Well, good job surviving. Congrats on hanging on to a P3, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.
Dallas Sullivan, number 46, and potentially mathematically in championship contention. Next up, Terry, you've got a driver who still came home with a top 5 after being on pole. Steve Loving's here.
Oh, I had myself muted. Steve, you had the pole, ran pretty consistent up front, then you got wrecked. Still got a pretty decent finish out of it too.
Yeah, it was good. I had to really limp it though. Came out of the green flag stops, and immediately after that there was a caution on track, and the off cycle put me back to 6th, and starting on the outside is not where I wanted to be. But yeah, that last incident looked like a bonehead move. I was hoping to squeeze by, but looked unlikely. I just wanted to get it turned around, aim straight as quick as possible, knowing we're up against the clock. And somehow with a top speed of 128, faster in 3rd than 4th, I limped it to a 5th place. So I'll take it, but I really wanted that win to make it 2 in a row since I had a skip last week.
Well, congratulations on a top 5 finish in 2nd gear. We'll see you at the Old Auto Club.
Yeah, appreciate it. Real quick, I want to thank Love Racing and my teammates for working with me. I did talk to Paul Crummery. It was a guy I got connected with at Vegas, and him and I are good to go. So yeah, we've moved on. We're happy campers. But yeah, Reese ran great. I feel really bad that he got turned. I think he had the race locked in, but unfortunately he had to get tangled up as the points leader. But curious to see where this shakes out. And hopefully it moves me back up and I still have a shot at the championship.
Yes, sir. That's P5 here this afternoon, Joey.
The Loving will make another run. I think I'll break that out next week. We got two more drivers to talk to really quick before we get into Xfinity. We got a pair of teammates from Regan Bogue Motorsports finally back together, Colton and Reese. Differing fortunes, though. Colton, you finally finished on the lead lap.
Yeah, for once.
So we didn't actually see you get turned onto the apron. What happened? You came out of our camera shot and then we lost you, and then suddenly you were back on the lead lap?
Okay, so when I got spun because I was told that there was a gap that did not exist. So you gotta love AI spotters. And so we go around and everyone starts green flag pitting. And I passed the leader who was pitting at the time, like right before the caution came out. So I didn't go a lap down by the guy behind me. And so that's how I got my lap back.
That's the problem when the spotter is your teammate. Reese, bad luck for you as the championship leader, but you will still be going into next week as the championship leader. Are you feeling comfortable with Alan Dice on your heels?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the points end up. I kind of thought I lost the championship lead right there. Kind of quick math, but I didn't calculate any drops or anything. But I don't know. That was wild. I really just wanted to finish ahead of Dallas and Alan and Steve because they were all the ones I was looking at that had a shot for actually next week for points, and that did not end up happening with the unfortunate moves that some drivers made. So a little bit ticked off about it, but I mean, it is what it is. I get it. It's just a little upsetting that we were running so good and then ended up getting taken out with only a couple minutes left.
We do have a little bit of time until the Xfinity Series qualifying gets underway. Colton, you promised us that if we interview you tonight, we get a sample of your musical theater adventures of the last few weeks. So I'm putting the world's biggest spotlight on you right now.
Oh, I didn't think you'd hold me to that.
We always hold things to everybody.
I sang Love Boat earlier. You gotta do it.
All right. Do you guys know the musical Hello Dolly?
I've heard of it.
I'm not a musical guy. I'm
okay.
Is it public domain?
No, it's not.
Oh dear.
That's why I wasn't sure you'd hold me to that.
Just give us a 10-second sample.
Give us a line.
Okay.
I think if you don't sing, it's okay.
A line? I don't have any lines in the show. I just sing.
Oh no.
We're going to New York. We're going to New York, Barnaby. Elevated trains, the lights of Broadway.
That's beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, Terry.
I mean, I'm all for it. All I do is hold a microphone and point it at people's face and say, hey, how'd you drive?
Well, Colton, if your teammate Reese Bogue wins the championship next season, we'll get some royalty-free music for you to sing, and you can serenade your teammate.
Alrighty, that works for me.
Hey man, that sounds good to me too.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mix of fortunes for Regan Bogue Motorsports here. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, yep, see it. Thank you.
Colton and Reese.
Thank you, guys.
Colton and Reese of Regan Bogue Motorsports. But if you haven't had enough Daytona, well, it's about time for even more Daytona. It's the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series, and it is time to go super speedway racing once more in the Xfinity cars. Qualifying is just about to end here. It's actually Jeff Evans on pole, but we've got time because it is a very, very long pace lap here. We've got to take a look at the championship standings really quick, because that is where things are very, very close still. They were separated a little bit after Rockingham last week. Elliott White extended his championship lead to 12 points over his teammate Abner Acosta. Sean Campbell actually missed last week because of his GT3 commitments in another series, so he's more or less out of championship contention unless there's a miracle this week, as is Bradley Holly, as is Jeff Evans. Thomas Sink dominated at Rockingham last week, ended up in the barrels, unfortunately. He's trying to make up for that. Mark Kalin, Adam Zemke, Danny Cervantes, and Jeff Hollingsworth round out the top 10 in the point standings. Then in the team standings, it is all but wrapped up for Precision Racing Esports. Acosta and White and Diaz have been absolutely dominant over the two Whataback teams. That's Carl Ramrod, another Whataback team, private label Team Hype, Double Ride and Shotgun Motorsports with OGR Racing in the middle, and the part-time PRE squad of 112 rounding out the team standings. But as I mentioned, Terry, Jeff Evans on pole at a super speedway again. This guy has figured super speedways out, but he's only 1,000th of a second over Elliott White. Jose the Funky Cold Medina, great qualifying for him in third, alongside Richard Regan Jr., who's surprisingly back on Wednesday nights. Doug Evans qualifies 5th, and Thomas Sink needs to redeem himself from last week. He starts 6th. Scotty Healy's back with us. He's 7th alongside Danny Cervantes. Bradley Holly in a new paint scheme starts alongside the returning Sean Campbell. Then Mark Kalin is 11th, and Mr. Sausage and Peppers himself, Brandon Walter, starts 12th. It's Riding Shotgun Motorsports on row 7 with Stacy Hunter and Doyle Lawrence. Then it's the unrelated Nick Hunter trying to avenge his brother and go 2 for 2 for the Hunter family alongside Jim Westerfield. Ryan Traver and Daniel Knight make up row 9, and then Charles Sumner was the last driver to set a qualifying lap time. Abner Acosta, trying to beat his teammate Elliott White in the championship, elects not to qualify, though. Very, very interestingly. Actually, that's because he was not allowed to qualify. He caused a caution at Rockingham last week. That completely left my mind. Abner Acosta disallowed from qualifying this week, as was Adam Zemke, as was Colton Lane. Josh Conker, back in the field with us tonight, just simply elected not to qualify. So 23 Xfinity cars in the field tonight, Terry. We roll off pit road. I don't even know what I could say. It's still anybody's game, just like every other year.
Can we get a shot of the 51 there?
I saw it on the spotter guide on the Whataback Twitter before tonight. It's another new paint scheme. I think it's new paint schemes for everybody in the Whataback contingent, other than Mark Kalin.
What a paint! It's I'm a little biased on the Miracle Flow though. That's really good shampoo, but that's an eye-popping paint scheme.
It is, and that's the 3rd paint scheme in 3 weeks for Jeff Evans. So he's just trying to confuse us. I think that's all he's doing. But it's good to see quite a few names back in the field. Richard Regan Jr. has had other commitments on Wednesday nights for the past couple of weeks, but he's back in the field, so it's good to see him, and potentially he'll reignite his rivalry with Sean Campbell. Doug Evans in that black and white and orange 41 in a new paint scheme as well, still for Miracle Flow though. And then Thomas Sink also in a new paint scheme behind that in a similarly black and gray and orange and black throwback Whataback scheme alongside Scotty Healy on row 3 there. The random number generator actually chose Abner Acosta to win this race last week, so he's got a lot of work to do from the back of the field. But if you can do that anywhere, you can do it at Daytona. Remember, Austin Hunter elected not to qualify in the Truck Series race and came home with the win at the end of it all. It is a beautiful group of paint schemes in the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series. There's some returning drivers, there's some championship contenders, and at the head of it all, it's Jeff Evans taking us to green at Daytona. Richard Regan Jr. already saying bye-bye to Elliott White and joining the Whataback crew as Elliott White gets swallowed on the top.
There's 13 drivers sitting in the Whataback stable here that are going to work together. So I would not be shocked if the winner came from the Whataback side. There's a lot going on, and if you shove your competition out of the way, puts you a better opportunity to win.
I'm no mathematician, but 13 Whataback drivers in a 23-car field, that's more than half the field with Whataback branding on their vehicles. But Richard Regan Jr., he's not one of them. He's just driving for Richard Regan Motorsports. He's got no teammates tonight, but he's getting all the help from Thomas Sink, riding on the high line.
Well, I think he could fall in and consider himself a Whataback affiliate because they normally work well together. You think of RaceSpoke Motorsport over in the Truck Series. They work very well together with the Whataback, one driver that's over there. So a lot of people starting to put their chips in the basket of the Whataback crew because, well, they've kind of dominated Xfinity, or they've kind of dominated plate racing over the PRL season.
And Richard Regan Jr. is coming off a very, very good race on Sunday night in the Cup Series. He and his teammates at Dirty South Racing, Matthew Long and Taylor Stout, were absolutely dominant. They could not be touched Richard didn't come out with the win, though. It was his teammate Taylor Stout that stole it on the final lap, so Richard's got a little bit of revenge to do. He wants to avenge himself at Daytona, and Thomas Sink is about to push him to the lead. He's not quite clear of Jeff Evans, though.
I'm not sure who the comment, the Ellie Lemon is in there, but I would imagine, I think I know. I think that would be the driver of the 56's machine's partner in crime. He's doing a good job holding up there. Maybe he can, maybe having somebody in there watching you, cheering you on, might help, Richard Regan Jr. get another win. He's won a lot. I'm not sure I want a first-time winner tonight, Joey.
It's always possible. The random number generator doesn't think so. It thinks Abner Acosta's going to win, but how often has it been right? Literally never. Very interestingly, if you saw just falling to the back of your screen, ever since the first lap, Elliott White has not been interested in racing up front, and he has literally fallen all the way to the back of the train. He's literally last, only ahead of Daniel Knight, who started from the pits.
Ride the back. Cool it back there. You see Abner Acosta's back there with him. No sense in getting racy. Colton Lane's up there on the outside. It's too early. It's way too early to be racy out here. We're not even 10 laps in. Wait till we get a green flag pit stop in if it happens. It might do what the truck race did. Go green all the way till then. Get the caution. And if that happens, I feel like we need to go play the lottery because we're right on top of what we did. It's like deja vu in the PRL. But no sense in getting too racy. Just get to the bottom and just relax.
Thomas Sink is listening to your advice. Danny Cervantes was not quite clear of Richard Regan Jr. there, but Thomas Sink was. Sink goes to the lead. He blocks the top. He blocks the bottom. Eventually, he realizes that the bottom is the place to go as Sean Campbell and Danny Cervantes become the next group of buddies to work up together on high.
Well, Sean Campbell, he's fast just about everywhere he goes, but the difference is this is not all about this isn't an open setup league. This isn't something you're just going to go out here and have the fastest car and be able to ride that bottom and be able to go anywhere you want. You have to wait for somebody else to work with you with a fixed setup. It's all about, holding the steering wheel perfect. There's a lot of different things that kind of go in there, managing your temperatures. One of the biggest things when I drove this car here at the Daytona this week is it's a lot of overheating issues. You're having a lot of issues when it comes to getting tucked up under them. You can only push for a lap. You get past that lap of pushing, it's over.
Just like in the Truck Series earlier tonight, this is a fixed setup series, so there's no chance for a what-a-back driver or any other team to have a setup that can absolutely destroy the field like Dirty South did in the Cup Series on Sunday. So it is you versus your competitors in equal machinery. That's why Richard Regan Jr. can't just run away from the field today. He's stuck behind Thomas Sink, and now it's Danny Cervantes still trying to make the high line work.
Well, it's funny you talk about open sets and here it's, yes, this is fixed, but what's crazy is me and Doug kind of had a setup that was waxing the field in the official series. We got wrecked by a lap car, or we literally would have had the field covered. I mean, literally covered. We had lapped just about everybody and got wrecked. So if Doug took my advice and how to push, how to take the push, how to be cautious, Doug Evans might win this race.
He's certainly got a history of doing very well at super speedways. His one PRL win was 2 seasons ago at Talladega in the Truck Series when his son Jeff pushed him to the win. So it's entirely possible that Doug Evans could get it done once more here. His teammate Danny Cervantes, though, is the next driver in that what-a-back carousel to try and go for the lead. His teammate Mark Kalen's trying his best to turn him, though.
Yeah, be careful there, Mark. You can't do what your Kentucky Wildcats did to my Vols and, wreck them. But here is the big key around here is these cars are not like the trucks. They're much different. You're able to push just a little bit harder. You're able to be a little bit more aggressive. You can actually lock bumpers in these. You can't lock bumpers in the Truck Series, but Xfinity can. But you have to be very careful with getting on the right rear, getting on the left rear. You have to be pushing the center mark. Whether it's the Mustang, whether it's the Supra, or whether it's the Camaro, you have to be down the middle. As you see right here, he got a really good shot. All three cars with Healy there at the back was able to lock tight and keep himself going forward.
Look who's fifth in line up there on the top. He's kept it up there. He's very interested in staying on the top and helping his teammates up there. That is Nicholas Hunter, the brother of Austin Hunter, who won earlier tonight, trying to keep the family name alive, keep the streak alive. But also, if we do look a little bit closer at that number 109, it is a new paint scheme for Nicholas Hunter this week. And it is it's a typical Nicholas Hunter creation where he just goes absolutely all out. It's Bubbles the Wall Sponge. I don't know where this guy gets the time. This is the second time he's done this after Precision Racing Liquid.
Who gave him the idea for Bubbles? Right? Well, that's perfect, though. Bubbles the Wall Sponge. That's I'm telling you, this is classic.
Bubbles the Wall Sponge. We're squeezing everything we can out of that joke.
Well, I mean, he's about to be leading this race. The good part about the PRL is they actually don't take things we say too serious. You know, there's a lot of leagues that take what you say and they get mad about it. But the PRL, we've become part of the family with them. I mean, they joke around with us, and we're in most of their Discords. You know, we sit around, laugh, and joke, and shoot the bull quite often. I mean, I race with most of them part-time outside of here, so I enjoy the fact that they're up to the task and up to the point of not being mean to us.
Well, unlike Bubbles the Wall Sponge, sometimes the things we say don't hold water, as Scotty Healy, while we were talking, has taken the lead of this race. He's cleared Danny Cervantes and add him to the carousel of entertainment at the head of this field. For the first time this season, Scotty Healy's leading laps in the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Look at the drivers who are just sitting here. You got what a back. The strength in numbers is real here. But for Scotty Healy, this is one of the best to better opportunities to pull a win out. It takes some skill to win here. It doesn't take a lot. I will say that based off of my skill too. It doesn't take a lot for me to win one of these. It just takes me in the right place at the right time. But if you're able to stay up front and consistently stay up front, be able to take shots, take shoves, and be perfect on pit road if we get a green flag pit stop, Scotty Healy has a great opportunity to possibly come out here and win this race.
If he does win this race, that'll be great. But we're gonna have a heart-to-heart with him and take off those aerial numbers.
Yeah, the aerial numbers kind of throw us off. I actually looked down at his car and was like, "Wait, is that Scotty Healy or who?" But he figures it out. I would hope that we would put a different paint scheme on his car. Maybe, I don't know, if he wins this race, maybe if he comes talk to me, we could get that thing painted orange.
That is possible, but there's danger coming up on the horizon in the foreground. Daniel Knight menacingly comes onto the scene. He made a risky call to start from the pits. He started at the back of the field. He lost the pack because he did, and unfortunately there has been no calamity and no caution, so the field has caught him. And now he's going to go a lap down here. He's going to put himself in danger of, well, he will be the lucky dog, but he's going to put himself in danger because the whole pack is coming to lap him.
That's the risk you run. And what's crazy is there was a driver in the official series this week, started on pit road. We went caution free in a B open race. So it is very doable to at least go caution free.
There is Daniel Knight to the outside, leaving as much room as he can. He's very lucky that the top line has just fallen apart. It's given him so much more room, and he does slot back in line behind Colton Lane there. But the Whataback drivers on the top and Doyle Lawrence for riding shotgun, they may not have strength in numbers, but they have strength in drivers right now. Doyle Lawrence is doing an incredible job pushing Mark Kaler.
Yes, he is. And to have a driver like Doyle Lawrence right behind you, very good in these restrictor-ish plates tracks. You know, he's sitting up front. He's always a contender at one of these towards the end. That's the biggest key, is getting yourself to the end, as Doyle pushes him clear almost there of Scotty Healy down there on that bottom. He just needs Nicholas Hunter to get up there on that back bumper of the 9 car, give him a little bit more of a shot, and he'd be okay.
There was a PRL meetup of sorts for the Daytona 500 a little bit earlier this week on Sunday. It was Bradley Holly, Austin Hunter, Doyle Lawrence, Stacy Hunter, and Nick Hunter. Whataback and Riding Shotgun Motorsports all finding each other in real life, having a nice old time on the couch, eating barbecue and watching the Daytona 500. But those alliances are gone suddenly. They've got to battle each other for the win.
Yeah, you make your friends early in these, but towards about 10 or 15 to go, you don't have friends no more. I'm almost positive if any of these Whataback teammates sit up near each other towards the end, it's all's fair in love and war. Somebody's going to come out here and want to win this race. You don't want to leave it to chance. You don't want somebody else to just come out of nowhere, take the win from you. So if I'm one of them at the moment, I would just kind of just back her down, sit up here on that outside, just relax, find each other. Don't bottleneck the field, but just stay with each other here.
It was at Bradley Holly's house, so he must have been the barbecue master. I have to imagine that if it's his house, he had to be the one manning the barbecue and the grill and all that stuff. If we look a little bit further back in the field, he does have a new paint scheme on that car. His teammate Mark Kalin is simply electing not to go down to the bottom and clear Scotty Healy, but we do see the new paint scheme on Bradley Holly's car. It is a World War II fighter jet paint scheme for the Master Barbecuer, potentially.
Allegedly the Master Barbecuer. I didn't ask too many questions when I saw the picture either of who actually cooked and who didn't. Not 100% sure who I would trust to cook.
I mean, I wouldn't trust any of those 5 guys to cook. I feel like there would be salmonella on the horizon.
Something like that.
But Scotty Healy, he's elected to ditch the bottom for a moment. He's not happy on the bottom. He's trying to block off the momentum of Mark Kalin that's coming. He wasn't quite clear, though. He had to back out of that. And once again, the momentum for Mark Kalin is pushing him to the lead, but he doesn't want to leave his old buddy Doyle on the top.
You don't want to make yourself untrustworthy early in these races, and I say that from experience. As I left the driver, hung out on that outside, and the moment I left him hung out to dry, I needed to push to win the race. He turned me instead, and his exact quote to me was, "You left me when I needed you the most." He found his way back up there, and he was not hesitant at all to ship me into the infield, and he won the race instead. So if you're Mark Kalin, keep Doyle Lawrence on your good side. Put a guy that you know is going to be there towards the end of this race. You know, somebody who's up front, always being smart at these racetracks. Keep yourself in contention, and if the right time presents itself, he knows he's going to step out with him because they built this relationship now.
You know another fun fact about the driver on the bottom is we do see that familiar camera of Mark Kalin. He's got that new Coors Light hood in the background. That's been new for the past couple of weeks. Terry's very happy about that because there's no University of Kentucky Greek flag up anymore.
Right.
But Mark Kalin's still trying to hold up the top and evidently very communicative with his teammates. Sometimes you have to do that in the super speedways.
Yep, you take that crappy flag off there. You put a legend in the sport of Sterling Marlin's hood up there. I'm all for it. But his Kentucky Wildcats did beat my Tennessee Volunteers both times this season in basketball. So we'll say go Wildcats. It's right there, I'm pretty sure Doyle Lawrence told him, go down to the bottom. He has a spot right between Danny Cervantes and Scott Healy if he wants to get down. I'm sure Danny will let him in if he wants to go. But Doyle's just sitting there doing his thing.
And Sean Campbell's gone up to join him. But I did just learn something about Scotty Healy. He made his debut midway through the season here. I believe his first race was Monza, where all that crazy stuff happened on the oval at Monza. But I've been calling him Scotty Healy over the past couple of weeks as a British alternative band-based joke. I just learned very recently that Scotty Healy is actually his nickname. That's not just a me thing. That's actually what people call him.
Well, that's what I like to hear. Old Scotty Healy's doing a good job. I mean, I'm not sure if we have the influence like Dale Jr. does to change Chris Buescher's name to Christopher Buescher, but eventually we're going to get somebody out here where we're going to just change their name completely.
Well, Bubbles the wall sponge. We've already done it. He's leading the race.
Yeah, Bubbles does his own thing. You know, it's a good play on words with Bubba and the love sponge, and he has good fun with it. But I mean, Danny Cervantes is a good name we could pick on. We got options here.
It's always a telling sign that you've been in the PRL for a long time and you've had some success if you earn yourself a nickname. There's not a lot of them in the field. Of course, there's Abner Acosta, the Tire Wizard. That's just a fact. That's not even a nickname. That's just a job title for him.
Yeah, straight fact.
Jose the Funky Cold Medina. He's had that forever. That's a very deserving nickname for him. But there's not many left in the Xfinity series, so you've got to be few and far between. But speaking of few and far between, look who's found each other up there on the top line: the two Precision Racing esports drivers, the two tire wizards of the series, in a place where tire management isn't as important as it is at other places. They've still been biding their time, and they're still finding long run speed somehow.
I said it once. I'll say it again. You have to put yourself in a position to think. You pretty much have to think like me. You have to think like, okay. You have to live in the moment here. You have to be really, 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 really quick to make a decision. Oh, is this? If you think the move is too smart, then don't make the move. Just wait till it sounds a whole lot dumber, and then make the move.
This is an absolutely incredible head of speed, but the teammates have kind of ditched each other. Abner Acosta has been ditched by his teammate Elliott White behind, and now he's got to work with his teammates in the Cup Series from private label Team Hype. Josh Conker, another driver who's been part-time this season. He's back in the field after some success in karting with our old friend Taylor Burris on commentary over there. Josh Conker's been doing some great go-kart things. And behind them is Mr. Sausage and Peppers, Brandon Walter. But private label Team Hype is going to lose their Precision Racing Esports teammate, and Josh Conker is going to have to work with Sean Campbell on the top.
Do you remember all the drama that comes out of it with Elliott White and Abner Acosta every week that talks about he doesn't work with us? You know, it's like he joins a different server. He's not ever necessarily with them. He's with them today. I don't see him in the other server that he normally sits in. So maybe they are working together here this afternoon. But I wouldn't have expected Abner to make that move. But he goes right back in front of him, so I guess they're maybe just positioning themselves right now to put themselves in the best position to end this race.
And Scotty Healy has ditched the bottom again. He's ditched Mark Kalin. He's gone up to the top. He's got a buddy in his fellow aerial numbered driver, Sean Campbell. Push wasn't quite good enough to clear Kalin, though, but Scotty Healy, I've got to say, there's still 30 minutes left in this race. He's shown more strength than anybody at the head of this field.
He's shown that he can take a push really well. He's also shown that he can push very, very well. But now we have to see what Sean Campbell's got. They don't have strength in numbers on the outside. So if he can do this as a two-car tandem and take it back to the old 2010 days in the Cup Series, then that would be incredible. As Sean Campbell said, I'm going to the bottom. It's almost pit stop time.
It is almost pit stop time. We're almost to halfway in the race, and Scotty Healy has been left alone on the top side. Is he going to find a gap between Walter and Conker? No, he's not. He's just going to have to stick all in his lonesome up there and hope that somebody saves him.
You know, that stinks. Because I think hanging somebody out right there, he's actually side drafting really well. But hanging somebody out there on the outside leaves a bad taste in their mouth. He wants to be able to get down. He wants to be able to figure this out. And unfortunately, he's just stuck in the wings.
He's got a Sean Campbell-shaped wall down there. He's desperately trying to get to the bottom. There's almost a gap between Campbell and Conker that he could slot into. Does he have the timing right? Is he able to get down to the bottom? No. Again, there is still a car-shaped wall there. But Scotty Healy is doing an incredible job of side drafting Sean Campbell, and he's not falling back. He's just stuck up there.
The fact that he's actually keeping consistent pace at the top side by himself is incredible. I mean, I didn't expect it. The moment I watched Sean go to the bottom, I was like, oh, Scott's going back, way back in the pack. But if I was him, I would kind of burp it a little bit, sling in between him and Josh Conker, and just force your way in there. Oh, he's going to force
There it is. He got it. He was clear as Sean Campbell, just barely an aggressive move. But Scotty Healy finally finds his way to the bottom. And as soon as he does that, Sean Campbell says, I'm going up to the top. Doyle Lawrence says, I'm going down to the bottom. And now Sean Campbell's the odd one out in the top.
Well, I think Sean Campbell, he's going to have Scott Healy.
He's got a friend again. He's got a friend again.
Yeah, I think that might have been a cohorted effort to swap roles.
Is Doyle Lawrence going to join him? No, he's not. It's just going to be Healy and Campbell up on top. But again, it's a great push from Scott Healy. Campbell's not going to lead the line. The lap's still going to go to Mark Kalin, but Campbell does have some great momentum here. They might not have numbers in the top yet, but they've still got a great pusher in Scott Healy.
Yeah, it's a good little matchup up here on the outside. It's been really fun to see. Two cars on that outside starting to go past a little bit. Not what I thought I would see. I wouldn't expect to see two people up there on the outside be able to hang with everybody else down there on the low side. But here comes Abner Acosta. He left his teammate down there on the bottom. Is White going to move up? No.
Sean Campbell trying to clear Mark Kalin. He is not clear, but Sean Campbell has been potentially the most aggressive driver in the field over the course of this season. He has loved to squeeze people. He has left only enough room that he needs to. At Daytona, sometimes that leads to trouble, and he's doing similar things. He's getting great side drafts here, but Sean Campbell's not going to leave you any more room than you need. Mark Kalin might start worrying about the driver to his outside.
I don't think Mark Kalin's really sweating this, because I mean he's got Danny behind him, he's got Thomas Sink behind him, he's got Doyle Lawrence right there as well. He's starting to line a lot of people up, and it's interesting to see the mismatch hodgepodge up top. Is right there. Sean Campbell got a little loose.
Bad news for fans of Ryan Traver and Jim Westerfield. They have lost the draft as well, so they're hoping for a caution. Daniel Knight still hoping for a caution desperately. He's in danger of going 2 laps down very soon. There goes another great push for Sean Campbell. He elects to stay on the top with Scotty Healy, though.
I mean, you found your friend. Now you're going to stick with him. But my question is going to be is when pit stops start happening. Now here we go. I answered my own question.
Mark Kalin leads the bottom in. There's been trouble getting cars slowed down for the pit lane or the pit road speed limit, and there was a little bit of smoke as Doyle Lawrence has lost it. He's rolling through the grass. I don't know if he made it to the pit commit cone or not, but Doyle Lawrence is flailing around, and that's going to be the end of his journey with the pack unless he gets a caution.
What did we see in the truck race? We saw a caution come out in the middle of it. And we saw Colton Easterday become the reciprocant of a chance to win the race because of the caution. Can we see that happen here with Doyle Lawrence spinning right there as Scott Campbell goes to the outside? It's going to let everybody go by for some reason. And Scott Healy takes the lead. And to pit road he goes by himself.
All by himself. Can Scotty Healy get it slowed down, though? It is so touchy in these Xfinity cars. They're so much heavier than the trucks, and the brakes don't want to slow down. This is not a road course car, but Scotty Healy does get it slowed down. Looks like everybody else did get it slowed down as well. Doyle Lawrence did get a penalty for speeding onto pit road and doing a little bit of lawn mowing as well. He's going to add himself to the list of drivers who are hoping for a caution. Could it come soon with Jose Medina coming up here and about half the field that still needs to pit?
Well, I wouldn't have imagined this would be the group, that didn't pit. Staying out here as a lot more drivers come peeling off here, trying to slow it down. Looks like they all get it going. Nobody spins. We're good there. But this is a bit of an oddball strategy from a lot of people. I don't think you're going to see the caution unless somebody loses it off a pit road here.
Daniel Knight has horrifically missed his box. He's done about a 13-point turn to get back in there. Thomas Sink had trouble getting into his box as well. Ryan Traver misses it. Daniel Knight's come in from a lap down. Pit road is proving exceptionally difficult here for quite a few drivers, and even one mistake, that might be what loses you the draft.
Well, that one mistake is exactly what's going to lose you the draft. I mean, like I said before, you have to be perfect in all phases to win one of these things. You have to be lucky, right? You have to be really lucky.
Charles!
Hang on to her. He got her. But you got to be lucky. But you also have to be smart. You have to be good. It takes, if you split this up at 100%, it takes about 10% skill, 90% luck. Because the only skill you really need is taking a bump, giving a bump, pit road. That's it. The rest of it's just if you make the move, you have to be lucky enough to make that move in a split second, because that hole closes really, really tight.
Still waiting on Precision Racing Esports, Private Label Team Hype, and Sean Campbell all on his lonesome. Fuel tanks have to be running exceptionally dry right now. Is this going to be the lap they all bring it down? No, they're going to extend it for even longer. Acosta stays out even longer, as does the rest of the top 5. Once these guys come in, Charles Sumner and Adam Zemke, I believe, have not actually come out ahead of the rest of the pack. They're just coming out now. Mark Kalin will retake the lead of the race once everybody else comes in. Theoretically, assuming that the speed these guys have built up in the top 5 isn't great enough for an overcut.
Well, you look at the last time by, it was a 47.8 for Mark Kalin. It was a 48.1 for Abner Acosta, so a little bit different there. I know lap times really doesn't mean a whole lot of hill of beans when it comes to this type of racing, but you have to make sure you're doing everything right. The teammates kind of started aligning themselves on that pit road stop. You have to know right then and there in that moment, okay, I need you all to pit. I need all the Whataback drivers to come down pit road right now. And when they all did, they were all lined up. So the moment they take this lead, it's going to be like, okay, come get the lead now, because it's 5th or 6th all the way down to 15th. It's Whataback drivers.
Comes Richard Regan Jr. out of the pits. He gets passed by Colton Lane and Scotty Healy. That's bad news for Scotty Healy. Remember, he was fighting for the lead of the race. He took tires on pit road, though. He's the only driver in the top 20 who took tires. It lost him 4 seconds, and it's lost him the draft. Scotty Healy's fight for the win is over unless he gets a caution.
That's inexperience. That's an inexperienced part of the play that has happened there, is you have to know to uncheck that. Unfortunately, he did not uncheck that, and now he's currently sitting here, and well, he's going to have to deal with that. He's going to have to reap what he sowed. So the RPM Transmission 64 machine is not going to have a chance to win this race unless the caution comes out. And something's happened to Rich Regan Jr. He's on pit road, and he's a lap down.
He's got a penalty. I don't know if it was for unsafe entry or unsafe exit, but Richard Regan Jr. on his return to Wednesday nights has gotten a penalty. He's going to be sitting in that box for a good 30 seconds, and he is not just going to go 1 lap down. He's going to go 2 laps down and be in danger of not even getting the lucky dog. Doesn't look to be affecting him at all, and that's why his eyes are blocked.
At least he knows where things are at in front of him. He just reaches up there and figures it out. He's like, yeah, whatever. Cool, I'm here. But this has been an expectable race. That they watched what the truck guys did the race prior to this. Now they're doing the same thing here, keeping it calm, keeping it patient. Now the only thing we needed to mimic is when these drivers come down, caution comes out, and then we wreck everybody coming to the line.
Still nobody bringing it down this time. I'm thinking back to the truck race. This is 100% fuel as well in this series, so are they going to be able to go 40, 43 laps again? And if so, they've only got 3 or 4 laps left to go. We're on lap 40 right now.
Yeah, it should be able to go 43, 44. They also saved a little bit. They quarter throttled it back there, and if you look at what Abner's putting down lap time-wise, he's flying. And it's 47-1, 47-2, 47-1, 1-1. There's a lot that's happening. They're catching lap traffic. They're starting to put a little bit of draft to that. I would think that we're going to see them come down pit lane either this time or next time. It's here they come this time.
It's the battle of the late breakers. A lot of drivers with road course experience here, and Sean Campbell, did he get it slowed down? He did save it, and that was that road course experience coming into things. He was later on the brakes than anybody, as Abner Acosta not quite clear coming into pit lane, but those are the things that happen when you're 4 wide on pit road.
I also don't think that Abner Acosta thought he was going to have a mirror, full of Elliott White, and then he would have a side-by-side battle with Elliott White there. But here's the overall race leader compared to this delta. It's 14 seconds. It's going to drop rapidly.
Campbell wins the race off pit road with the fastest stop of anybody. He was saving fuel. And Abner Acosta, 10.4 seconds in the box. I think he took right side tires.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, for a full fuel tank is about 10.5 seconds. So he just went ahead and took 2 tires. That actually might be a beneficial factor for that 5 machine. Handling has been an issue at Daytona so far this week. With the temperatures, with the sun's being down, it was 78 degrees in the truck race, track temp. It's a lot hotter in this Xfinity race. So you're sort of kind of want to get a little bit more tight off the exit of the corners. It's very loose here, especially when you get a bump.
So now here's the rub. Here's the merge. Abner Acosta gets swallowed up by that second pack, and they've got quite a run. Even with Elliott White, Josh Conker, and Sean Campbell working together, that second pack is about 10 cars deep, and they are coming with a full head of steam. Things got a little bit separated with the pit cycle. They're about to merge together in a very big way.
Well, there's only 13 cars, theoretically, that have a chance to win this race unless a caution comes out. If you look back there at Colton Lane, he's 14th, 11 seconds off this pace. If you're in the top 13 at this moment, all you have to tell yourself is don't do anything dumb. Don't wreck the thing. And you're going to go caution-free. You're going to go wire to wire here. So what does that second group do? Does Danny Cervantes get racy? Does Charles Sumner jump out of line there? What does Jeff Evans and Doug Evans do? Are they going to push each other? Or potentially, is Bradley Holly going to win to make this a first time, the continuous streak of, winning on a Wednesday night in the PRL? Or is it going to leave him down to 1 race to go before he potentially goes winless?
There's a lot of records on the line here. If you look at our former race leader, Sean Campbell, who's now fallen to 3rd, if he wins tonight, that's his 16th win in the PRL. That ties him for 10th all-time. That puts him in the top 10 in PRL wins, tied with Anthony Joby, who was quite successful in the NASCAR side in the PRL many a year ago, and also got 12 wins back when the PRL ran sprint cars. Maybe we'll go back there one day, maybe we won't, but if that happens, something tells me that if Sean Campbell signs up, he'll find a way to be fast there too.
It'd be pretty cool to call sprint car racing. I do it for racecraft quite often. It's a fun time. It made me enjoy a little bit more dirt. I wish I had more time to sit down and watch it. I don't have a whole lot of time to do much anymore in life.
But you know who else has sprint car wins in the PRL? Bradley Holly. He's got 2 of them. Those are 2 of his 116. That doesn't mean anything, but that's a segue and a half.
Segway. Kind of like Roadhouse, but Segway in it. There's Bradley. It's funny because I watched the race last week in Citrus County, Florida, from sitting at Citrus County Speedway, and that was an entertaining race at Rockingham. I'm kind of mad I didn't. Kind of mad my Wi-Fi down there wasn't good enough to just put a PC down there and call a race.
Well, Brad's probably somewhat unhappy with his teammate Mark Kalin, because they both had a shot at beating Elliott White to that win in that late race restart, but they were so busy fighting each other for second that just let Elliott White drive away with the win. So does Bradley Holly have a little bit less reason to work with Mark Kalin this week? Is it going to be every Whataback driver for themselves?
Well, I mean, you think 3 weeks ago they had the little, rub on the racetrack, and they were not happy with each other. They were very, very upset with the fact of how, certain people were racing each other. The respect that's given on the racetrack necessarily they didn't feel like was there. So a lot of these drivers you talk to, if you just, if a basic commentator did 10% of their job, they would learn the stories of these drivers, and they like respect. These drivers enjoy the respect level that's given here. When they feel like it's not given, they police it themselves. They don't go to the admins. They police it on their own. And maybe Mark and Brad just kind of they've had a disagreement for the past 3 weeks. And now we're at a super speedway track. Are we going to see it come to fruition where he doesn't potentially push him to the win, as they're all going to go freight train Elliott White?
Mark Kalin takes the lead. Elliott White may have been slowing this pack down because, Terry, these guys in this lead pack, they are a full second a lap slower than Jose Medina, Scotty Healy, Colton Lane, and Adam Zemke working together. They may be 9 seconds back, but they are eating away at that time, and this pack might just grow in a couple of laps' time.
And I think that a lot of those drivers knew that. When you're racing these tracks, it's a little easier in a league form because you know the guy to your left and right. When you're in an official race, you don't know those drivers that are around you. You cannot just say, hey, man, we got to work together. I'm faster than you. Egos come into play in officials. In a league, it's like, hey, I'm faster than you, Elliott White. Just let us lead. We know what we're doing. And the pace, by the way, has picked back up.
Yeah, it just got a second faster.
It's got a second faster by putting Mark Kalin out front. One's holding the steering wheel a little bit better. One's taking a push a little bit better than the other. And it also helps that you've got two teammates on the bottom in Cervantes and Mark Kalin. They're able to know the push limits from one to the other. And those two did a ton of official racing this week.
We've been so focused on all the incredible racing in this lead pack. We've been so focused on the micro that we can't forget about the macro here. The championship battle between Elliott White and Abner Acosta, separated by 12 points. Elliott White is 7 spots ahead of Abner Acosta right now. Abner, who the random number generator chose last week, is just riding around in the back, while Elliott White has shown his speed quite a bit more.
Yeah, and this is showing 10 minutes.
But now Elliott's going to the back.
Smart. He sees that he's slower. He sees what he sees, but we might potentially finish this race under laps. I mean, we're going to hit lap 50 here. We'll have 13 to go. That's 13 laps around here at a 40-second pace. We have a chance.
Sean Campbell leads the top. They've shown instances of going 3 wide. There's been a few drivers who have peaked up there. I don't think there were real intentions of going 3 wide, but some drivers might start to get frustrated. Some of those Whataback drivers who aren't teammates with Sean Campbell, like Thomas Sink, who almost just put it in the wall through turn 1, they might be theorizing ways to swallow him up.
Well, the first thing you do, get off his bumper. Make him have to work for it right there. Build that run, take the run to the outside. But don't be up on him. Don't give him help. The one thing that I'm seeing here across the board is you see all of these different teammates right here in this one pack. There's 13 of them right here out of these drivers. Like there's a lot of teammates sitting right here in this one little portion. The only thing you need to do is back up if you're Thomas Sink. Don't push Nicolas Cage to the lead. Just stay right here. Make the run, generate it down the back straightaway, and come into 3 and 4, be able to go to the outside.
There's a couple drivers in the top 10 here who really need a big result. Mark Kalin, again, I almost forget that this is a fact every now and then. Mark Kalin has never won on the oval side in the PRL. He has 2 MX5 wins, so he's not winless, but in the Cup Series, in the Truck Series, and the Xfinity Series, he has never won an oval race in the PRL. Nicholas Hunter behind him in the similar paint scheme hasn't won a race altogether, but there is Doug Evans, Brandon Walter, and Charles Sumner smacking into the inside wall. No caution's going to come out because they're off the racing surface, but that is catastrophic for Walter and for Evans and for Sumner.
And not a caution because it was off the racing line. As we take a look at the replay, that was a hard hit for the 41 machine. Doug, just got popped.
It looked like Sumner was trying to go to the back, and he was checking up for Walter, and they came together.
Walter kind of moved up just a little bit, went down to the bottom, went back up. Take a look right here, check up. Oh, bam, bam, just took him right out. Bam, around they go. But they all made it on pit road except for Charles Sumner. He actually went back on the racetrack. He didn't get a whole lot of damage. We should be fine to go there. Now we go back to the lead. It's less numbers.
Less numbers indeed. That could be good for Medina and the gang as well if they want to make time up. But bad news for Brandon Walter. Had a great shot at getting another win in the PRL. I saw him on Instagram before the race started tonight. He had a good meal. He had sausage and peppers in the crock pot. Unfortunately now, the crock pot master, he's going to be stewing.
Classic. There's not a whole lot left that you can do here. Right at this moment, you're setting yourself in a much different platform. You don't want to step out of line. You don't want to be weird as Thomas Sink jumps up there. They got Elliott White out of the way, and now it's 2x2 teammate.
It is 4 Whataback drivers in the top 4. It's 5 Whataback drivers in the top 6, and it's 8 Whataback drivers in the top 10, 7 Whataback drivers in the top 10. There are strength in numbers for Whataback Racing right now, but which driver is it going to be? Thomas Sink and Bradley Holly have not been a pair who have worked together so far tonight. They find each other on the top, though. They've got plenty of experience together in the PRL, and suddenly Thomas Sink looks to avenge last week.
Thinking about avenging last week. But as we continuously roll here, we're finding our way towards the end of this run. It is going to be crucial that you don't make a bad decision. You have to make good, solid decisions. When do I side draft? I think that if you're Sean Campbell, Abner Acosta, and Nicholas Hunter, it's the smartest thing you could have done was kind of bail out and go to the back. Let them wreck themselves.
By the way, if we get a caution, I don't remember when the caution came out exactly in the truck series, but we're within that range that we're running out of time. If you're going to bring out the caution, you have to do it now, or else we're going to end under yellow.
Well, I think that's what a lot of these drivers up front are hoping that doesn't happen. The only place that's probably going to bring that caution out is behind them. Like way behind them will bring the caution. So don't be weird about it. Don't go out of your way to cause the wreck. If you're going to side draft, do it right. And that's unfortunately the problem that we're going to run into is if you're going to race hard, you have to make sure you race hard smart, as it's 3 wide back there with Abner Acosta on the outside.
Things are getting dicey. You can see Thomas Sink down the back straight going for the biggest side draft of his life. Abner Acosta suddenly wants a piece of the pie. He's on the scene. He's got Sean Campbell behind him. Are they about to make a third line work?
I'm not sure they'll make the third line work with 2 of them. Without these numbers, nobody's stepping out to help Abner Acosta. Nobody's going to step out and help Sean Campbell. Sean might be praying that they wreck each other, but if they don't, he made a bad decision. They shuffled him out, but he has to find his way back up there. But the outside lane right there, he was able to make a swing at it. Oh, Brad tried to block it.
It was not there, though. It was not clear of Abner Acosta. Holly has to get back in line behind his teammate Thomas Sink, and that is absolutely checked up the middle lane. Josh Conker's got a good run, but look at the rear bumper, that number 54. It is quite crunkled. I think there was a little bit of an incident on pit road for Josh Conker, but he is clear of Thomas Sink, and it's the old switcheroo between Sink and Conker.
I'm not going to lie. If I know they all want to win, but if I was them, you're blocking. You're playing block defense here. You're locking it down. You want to lock the top 5 spots down. The only way to do that is to take half of your fleet, move to the outside, half of your fleet to the bottom, and just clog all the lanes like a commode.
Getting into crunch time here. Sean Campbell in the middle. Conquer side drafting Danny Cervantes. It is very, very close quarters. It's very, very tense stuff. Every driver other than Mark Kalin, though, is hoping, please don't take out the caution. Please get us green to the end. Please, everybody, take care of each other.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to end up winding some stuff up across this line as Conquer's to that outside. He's there. Can he side draft it? Elliott White's pushing the mess out of private label team hype. Danny's really good at this pushing. They're about to get Charles Sumner right here. This is going to be a big benefit for the bottom. If Charles, doesn't move, he'll be able to get some draft off of him, get a little tow. But what a shot down to 3 and 4.
Charles Sumner is always a very respectful lapped car. That's one of the things we know him for. So if I know him, he's probably going to pull, honestly, down pit road right now if he wasn't the last driver on the lead lap. So he's going to do his best to get out of the way here to make sure he doesn't interfere with this race. Kalin crosses the line here. 2 minutes to go, 3 laps to go, or 4 laps to go, depending on how the math works. Either way, we're within 10 miles of the finish.
Within 10 miles. It says 60 to 64. We'll, it could add laps. It could take away laps depending on how quick we start clicking them off around here. He just put down a 47.5 there. So the pace has, very well he picked up. It's still 2 by 2. But here's the crazy part. Teammate.
Look at Sean Campbell on the top.
3 wide.
It will be 2 to go at the line here, and we are 3 wide deeper in the field. Jose Medina on the bottom that's not Jose Medina on the bottom. That is a lapped car in the middle of the pack. Mark Kalin takes 2 to go. Will we make it to the white flag, or is the caution going to come out beforehand?
The way they're racing right there, I would imagine the caution. The fact that we're 3 wide. Abner did not go with Elliott White right there. He went with Sean Campbell instead. So that was kind of a weird-ish move. We got a fan out there that says that Danny Cervantes is going to win this race. He's been locked with Mark the whole time. We've settled back down to 2 wide down the back stretch. We'll see. Josh Cocker's getting a big shot there into 3 and 4.
That fan, Colton Easterday, from the race, but Danny Cervantes gets hit by Josh Conker. It's a great save. No caution is going to come out, and Mark Kalin is going to take the white flag as the pack falls apart behind. The white flag is in the air for Josh Conker, who's going to lead Mark Kalin to the line, but who's it going to be in 2.5 miles?
Oh, they're beating and banging now. It's Danny gets back to the back bumper of Kalin, but it's Conker clear. It's 3 wide now. Conker's clear on the bottom. Campbell, White, Abner. Abner's going to push Elliott White here. I don't know if you want to do that.
The Precision Racing Esports teammates find each other in the middle of the field. Nicholas Hunter behind them. Mark Kalin had led so much of this race en route to potentially his first oval victory in the PRL. Suddenly he finds himself blocked up by Josh Conker. Coming out of turns 3 and 4 for the final time. It's a great push for Mark Kalin. Can he get clear of Elliott White, though? He's going to try. He's going to burst up to the top. He turns Josh Conker, though. Mark Kalin gets turned himself, coming to the line. Abner Acosta wins at Daytona.
Your stupid number generator worked.
The random number generator is right for the first time. Abner Acosta beats his championship rival by 7 positions, and the championship just got a heck of a lot closer.
What in the world just happened?
That was a Daytona finish for the ages, and there are going to be a ton of unhappy drivers here as we try and get Abner Acosta for the finish. But look at that car through the middle of all the calamity. I don't think Abner Acosta expected to win that race.
I don't think none of us expected Abner Acosta to win that race.
Jeff Evans comes up short in second. Nicholas Hunter ends up in the top 3. Mark Kalin gets turned coming to the line. So many stories in the top 10, but they're all dominated by Abner Acosta, who comes out of nowhere to steal this race win, his 55th in PRL competition. In a race where literally anybody could win, the Tire Wizard still manages to get it done.
Wow. I mean, your generator was right. He was like 20 feet from the line. And he was
half the field crossed the line sideways. We're going to get the replay ready when we can, but if you look at the top 10, everybody who was involved still managed to finish in the top 10, even Josh Conker. But that is a finish for the PRL history books. These are going to be the longest donuts ever for Abner Acosta. He's not going to want to stop.
Wow. I mean, he wasn't in the top 5. He just won that race in the craziest fashion ever. I mean, you would have talked, that's 90% luck right there.
Well, let's take a look at the finishing results. It was Abner Acosta by quite a big margin at the end of it all over Jeff Evans. Nick Hunter with his best result of the season in third. Bradley Holly, the streak is going to have to come down to Auto Club next week, and Mark Kalin led so many laps. Did not work out for him at the end, though. Sean Campbell came home in 6th. Danny Cervantes 7th. Elliott White takes a championship hit in 8th. Thomas Sink and Josh Conker round out the top 10. And it was Scotty Healy. A call to take 4 tires on pit road did not pay off. He finishes outside of the top 10 with Colton Lane, Jose Medina, and Adam Zemke, his buddies in that little pack. Ryan Traver and Jim Westerfield lost the draft early and never got it back. Stacey Hunter finished 17th. Sumner and Daniel Knight both went 1 lap down. Knight's decision to start from the pit road did not work for him. Doyle Lawrence ran into some trouble. He was 2 laps down. Richard Regan Jr. got a penalty. He was 8 laps down. Did not bring it to the end. And then we get into the used car lot of a few drivers with heavy damage. Doug Evans and Mr. Sausage and Peppers Brandon Walter both ran into some big trouble with the inside wall there. So while we wait to load up Abner Acosta's finisher, before we get to talk to Abner, here is that finish from Abner's perspective. He got landed on. He got landed on by Josh Conker, and he still won.
I need that kind of luck.
Well, let's bring Abner in here as he celebrates. Abner Acosta, you had your former teammate Josh Conker landing on you, and somehow you still managed to win this race. How on earth did you do that?
I don't know. I definitely did not expect anything close to a win. I had a little bit of damage, so I guess I couldn't really push at the end there, Elliott. And I don't know, I just kept it on the floor, and I saw like a car like warp through my car. I thought it was Elliott, but I guess it was Josh. I haven't looked at the replay yet. Oh, it was Josh Conker. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just floored it, and maybe a little bit of netco saved me or something, but I was able to just keep it straight, and everybody just died. It was great.
It was certainly great from our perspective. And your teammate Elliott White, he finished far deeper in the field than you. He was 7th. You were 1st. We're going to be in the single digits coming into the championship finale at Auto Club next week.
Yeah, I think we might be tied. Last week or this week, I did a great job at still spinning in all my races, all my leagues. So I super screwed it up last week on that restart, starting in first gear. And, I gave 13 points to Elliott. So I guess he screwed up. Well, he didn't screw up, but, I guess we're tied. So it's it's definitely gonna go down to the wire. I know he's been really good at saving tire recently. I think he has been better than me in the really, really late run. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
And this is a historic day because last week I broke out my random number generator for the super speedways. It selected the number 5. You're the first driver to finally live up to the random number generator, Abner. So you're not only the tire wizard, you're the number wizard.
All right, let's make sure we get that next week too. As long as you don't get Elliott's number, we're good. So not a 27.
I won't break it out for Auto Club. I'll make sure I'm as non-biased as I could be. But congrats on the win, Abner. That was the finish of the season, and we'll see you fighting for a championship next week.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Abner Acosta, potentially the luckiest driver in the world, coming home second. Still a good result for him with no rear bumper. Jeff Evans is with Terry.
Jeff, you're forced to talk to me.
Oh, man.
Tough. big fan of the paint scheme, and big fan of the finishing result. P2.
Yeah, man. Who would have guessed? I mean, with the way that race was shaping up, I just kind of had to have some sort of luck break my way, because I was kind of pinned down there on the inside, and I figured lay back coming out of turn 4 and see what happened in front of me, because there wasn't really anybody behind me, and something happened.
Yeah, something did happen. A big wreck happened, but I mean, P2, good chance to roll into, next week, the final race of the season. You think you can go out there and win it?
I've always run really well at those tracks, especially Auto Club. Gonna give it a good run. Might not win, but definitely think I can be in the contention for sure and run up in the top 5.
Well, obviously you have to thank the amazing wrap on that car with the Miracle Flow people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's beautiful. Miracle Flow with Maserati Matt this week, so it was nice to get him a little bit of airtime there when I got the pole, and then sliding across with all the carnage there at the end.
Definitely was hard to miss yours, but congrats on P2, Jeff. Hopefully we talk to you next week. I'll talk to you in about 5 minutes when the broadcast over.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
See you, sir.
That's Jeffrey Evans, and we got one of his teammates coming up next. His best result of the season, but too short of your brother in the eyes of the family, Nick Hunter. What more do you need coming to the line?
Oh, I had all the luck I had right there just to make it across. When I saw Conqueror just come across, and then I had Tom going across my nose, I think a little bit of netcode saved me, and then Brad was right up on my back bumper too, keeping me straight. So I managed to cross the line, Tokyo drifting it.
So Bubbles the wall sponge on the car this week. Was that your mantra coming into tonight? Were you just trying to hang back, make sure you weren't the wall sponge, and wait for all the calamity to kick off?
Yes, definitely. I was. It was getting dicey towards the end there. There's some bad communication between me and Tom, to where I jumped out of the line thinking I could do some work against Campbell to keep him back there, and it kind of fell apart. Managed to sit P7 until that wreck happened, and so it's always my goal is to survive. And lately, I've been having the curse of blowing my pit stops, and for some reason, all the stars aligned just right to at least get me a podium.
So Brad's coming up next. I know you were you guys were both at that barbecue together. Was Brad the one who was on the grill? Was he the one cooking?
Oh, he pulled an all-nighter. Yeah, he put his heart and soul into it, and it was some great cooking.
What food related questions should I throw at him? It could be anything, and you can hide behind me, and I'll also tell him it was you that said it.
I feel like you can ask him what's his favorite cut of meat, or maybe what whiskey he likes to pair with it. I feel like he could ramble on that, I think.
We'll go for that. We'll try and make sure he doesn't ramble too long, but congrats on the top 3, Nick. First one of the season, and we will see the Bubbles the Wall Sponge special at Auto Club next week.
Thank you, guys. I want to thank Waterback for all the comms that we had and all the teamwork that we had going on throughout the race. Naturally Put Kicker, Race Slab, Ninja Trader, Racebox, and RaceSpot and VCO. You guys are awesome. I love everything you guys do.
Always a pleasure, especially when it's a finish like that. Nick Hunter, P3. And you know what, Terry? I want my Whataback ribs. And Bradley Holly's coming up next.
Brad.
Yes, sir.
Bonsai, old World War II scheme, kicked back, and you didn't win.
Yeah, well, you know how plate races are. It's a 50-50 if you're going to win. I'm more disappointed that we didn't have a Waterback guy win. Told the guys to try to control the top and bottom lane, and didn't listen, and wait, ended up paying for it.
Well, you can see the disappointment in your face as we have you now big screened. Your Jumbotron, if you want to look and wave at the camera to all the people watching. We heard you were the grill master over the time. So
I'll tell you this. a brisket and ribs. And I'll tell you this, I'll never do a brisket and have it ready by noon. That was probably the biggest mistake I made.
Did you smoke it?
Yeah. I have a pretty good sized smoker. I was able to smoke everything at once. So it was tasted good, but I was exhausted.
I mean, it takes 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
the brisket definitely took 12 hours. The ribs took 4, and I smoked 6 racks of ribs.
Did you charcoal or did you wood? Chip?
Wood.
What did you do?
Of course.
Okay, hey, listen, I gotta ask questions. There's some people out there that use charcoal still on their smoker. Now I have to be fair and impartial here. I'm a wood guy myself. You fed the group. Why didn't we get invited? Me and Joey are wondering why we didn't get the invite.
Well, y'all don't live in Texas.
Yeah,
If y'all
Texas
lived in
is pretty far away.
Yeah,
I mean,
if y'all lived in Texas, I'd the more the merrier. The more I can cook, the more fun I have.
Well, I tell you what, then if I get to Texas, I hear there's rumors with Pit Road TV that I might be going out that way at some point in time this year, maybe with Race on Texas or something like that with LSR TV. Somewhere I'm coming out there to the Texas Lone Star country that is Texas. I have to stop in and you have to smoke me something.
If you can mosey yourself down to Houston, I'll definitely do it.
I will hold you to that, Bradley Holly. Thanks for your time. I'll hold you to the smoked meat idea. You could mail it to me too. I hear it's good. FedExed.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty excited for Hollywood.
Yes.
It'll be a good time. Bradley Holly, P4 this evening. And we got one more Whataback driver, and maybe the most disappointed one of all, Mark Kalin, as always, with us here on Wednesday nights. Talk us through what direction you were pointing when we crossed the line at the end there.
I was pointing the right direction, but someone just had to throw a desperation block out there, and didn't work out and wrecked the whole field. It's real unfortunate because that close to my first oval win. That close. Probably led the most laps. Had a real strong car, real strong team. Danny was pushing like a godsend. I mean, he was amazing all race long. And all it takes is one little moment like that, and out the window it goes. So just hate it, gutted for myself, gutted for the team. At the end of the day, that's plate racing. It sucks. It really sucks.
Can imagine it does. But one more week this season, we re-rack next week at Auto Club. Are you taking this mindset into next week? Are you going to avenge yourself?
I'm going to do everything I can to do so. Yeah, 1 week to go, nothing to lose. Full send.
I like it.
Full send at Auto Club next week. We will see you, Mark Kalin, next week at Auto Club, and yeah, we'll see if we can make up for this.
All right, thanks, guys. Want to thank everybody at Whataback, Miracle Flow for coming on board this season, and all the other sponsors for Team Whataback. You guys up in the booth, and my fellow organizers for putting on this awesome league. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you to everybody indeed. Mark Kalin, the end of the top 5. And Terry, before we get off the air here, we have one more look at the finish, I believe. We saw it in slow motion from Mark Kalin's perspective there, which it showed you. He was so close to surviving that, but he just barely got clipped by Elliott White at the end of that. It could have been anybody's win if any one thing just went slightly different.
Yeah. I mean, if Mark didn't get touched, he wins this race. If Nicholas Hunter doesn't get spun, he's probably winning this race. This was an epic finish for the PRL. Look at it here, yeah. It's the final lap altogether from the Acosta mobile.
So Mark Kalin said that it was a late block by Josh Conker. Was it a block by Conker, or was it Kalin coming down? We'll have to see the angle here.
I think Mark was right. I think it was a block, because you're going to see this big shove right here from the 62 into the 54, and you see how close Danny is right there. He's right on the back bumper. He's going to help them push clear on that bottom. And then the moment that Mark gets clear, He jumps to the outside, blocked. Just tried to block him. And Elliott White wouldn't have got into the side of Mark. Mark's winning this, but Abner pulls it. I mean, that was just a bam, bam, thank you, ma'am type finish.
And he did get a little bit of damage and all that, as literally everybody there did, but it was the least amount, and he was the driver who was pointing in the right direction and had the least contact with the wall coming to the line. So what a night at Daytona. What more can I say? Austin Hunter comes out on top in the Truck Series. Abner Acosta comes out on top in the Xfinity Series. Two absolutely amazing races. That's what we come to Daytona for. But next week, it is championship finale time. Auto Club Speedway for both the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. And it's going to come down to both series. Alan Dyson, Reese Bogue, and potentially Dallas Sullivan in mathematical contention at Auto Club in the Trucks. Abner Acosta and Elliott White in contention in the Xfinity Series. It's going to be a very exciting finale next Wednesday night, and we hope you'll join us for both of those championship finales. But this is not the only night of PRL action here on RaceSpotTV. Of course, you've got the NASCAR doubleheader on Wednesday nights, but you've also got IRO 4s and F3 coming up next on Thursday nights. Then it's the PRL NASCAR Cup Series on Sundays. It's GR86s and GT4s on Mondays. It's a GT3 doubleheader on Tuesdays as well. 5 nights a week of action. We hope you'll join us for any and all of them. We thank you for joining us tonight. For me, I've been Joey Tebben. Terry Radford has been Terry Radford. Our producer has been Hugo Luis. Until we see you next time, so long.